Chapter 2186. It wasn't the first time she'd hugged him. They'd slept like this during military training. It wasn't a big deal, as long as Lin Yi didn't go too far with his hands and feet. She just treated it as a friendly hug. Plus, there'd been worse things that had happened during the training. Sun Yan's fragile heart had been ravaged to a certain degree. Lin Yi was just hugging her as expected. He didn't do anything out of line or out of line. Sun Yan's tensed heart and stiff body relaxed a little, and she was getting used to it. So, it felt good to be hugged by a guy. Sun Yan comforted herself. Marriage, reservations, and whatever. Sun Yan threw all that to the back of her mind. She sat there quietly, enjoying the peace. What was that saying again? Since she couldn't fight back, she might as well enjoy it in peace. Hey handsome, pretty girl. Wanna buy something? A sudden voice broke the silence, and Sun Yan looked at the acne-faced guy who'd popped out of nowhere. She subconsciously moved to the side, trying to put some distance between her and Lin Yi. She felt like she'd been caught in the act. Lin Yi opened his eyes as well. He'd been training in the Jade space, but his consciousness was connected to the outside world. Lin Yi saw this guy's appearance as well. He thought it was someone from another booth who'd gone to the washroom, but it turned out to be a merchandiser. Nope, Lin Yi said straightforwardly. Don't be in such a hurry, handsome. Let's see. The acne-faced guy seemed to have expected Lin Yi's rejection, but he wasn't in a rush. He pulled out a couple of boxes from his backpack. Condoms, they're good to use. There's luminous ones, spiral ones, super thin ones, transparent ones, colorful ones. We don't want it. Just leave. Sun Yan blushed as she watched the guy in front of her take out a bunch of condoms. We don't want it. Just leave, ugh. Don't be shy, pretty girl. These are the real deal, and the quality is top-notch. Lots of couples over there have bought them. The acne guy wasn't expecting Sun Yan to flip out like that, but he still tried his best to sell it. Look, there's a lot of couples around here. You'll hear them if they start doing it later. It'd be bad if they get caught up in the heat of the moment, and someone gets killed because of it. I said I don't want it. Why are you like this? Sun Yan was a little displeased. She was a girl, after all, and they weren't even a couple yet. It was awkward for her to be pushed around like this. Oh, I got it. The acne guy lowered his voice as if he'd figured something out. Bro, your girlfriend's so pissed off. Are you okay with it? I still have Viagra here. It's super effective. Ahem. Lin Yi was quite troubled, but it wasn't worth it to beat him up. Lin Yi didn't want to waste time with him. He waved his hand and said, All right, I won't buy the medicine. I'll buy one of those condoms you sold earlier. One isn't enough. Bro, you're such a ferocious man. You should at least do it 7 times a night. The acne-faced guy said. Didn't you just say I couldn't do it? Lin Yi was speechless. I was joking. Bro, do you want to buy the combo? One of each, you'll get all kinds of enjoyment. The acne-faced guy took out a self-sealing bag. There was one of each type of condom. All right, how much? Lin Yi asked. 100. The acne-faced guy said. You're quite a scammer. Lin Yi took out 100 kwai and sent the acne-faced guy away. As for the condoms, Lin Yi put it in his coat pocket. He's finally gone. Why did you buy that? Sun Yan looked at Lin Yi, a little wary. Would he leave if I didn't buy it? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If I don't buy it now, who knows what else he'll come up with. You're right. Sun Yan realized that she'd misunderstood Lin Yi. She was a little embarrassed. Why don't we close this folding door? What if there's more to sell later? Sure. Lin Yi was thinking of doing that, but he didn't want Sun Yan to think that he was up to no good. He didn't think that Sun Yan would bring it up herself. Sun Yan was actually quite scared of that guy. Of all the things he could have sold, he had to sell condoms. What an embarrassing thing to do! Lin Yi closed the door casually, and the booth turned into a small private room. There was no light, and Sun Yan couldn't help but jump in surprise at what she saw. Let's just think of it as military training in the tent. Lin Yi said. Yeah. Sun Yan wasn't as nervous now that Lin Yi was saying she'd been alone with Lin Yi many times already, and there was no need to be on guard all the time. If Lin Yi wanted to do something, he'd have done it a long time ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Ugh. Is it okay if I'm hugging you like this? Lin Yi realized that his left arm was still around Sun Yan. Lin Yi had forgotten about that because of the acne-faced guy. You're still talking. Sun Yan was a little embarrassed. If there's something, move it away. Yeah, I'll move it away in a bit. Lin Yi smiled. He could tell that Sun Yan wasn't really angry. Humph, you're so annoying. You want a foot when you give me an inch. Sun Yan humphed and closed her eyes, ignoring Lin Yi. Lin Yi smiled awkwardly as he closed his eyes and continued his training. Sun Yan wasn't really annoyed, actually. If it weren't for Lin Yi mentioning it, she'd have gotten used to the feeling of Lin Yi hugging her, and even forgot that she was in Lin Yi's arms. It was a feeling she was used to and familiar with, and she didn't have much of a resistance against it. Sun Yan actually fell asleep in a daze. Perhaps it was because she was too nervous today, or maybe it was because it was too easy to get sleepy in this environment. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was training, and she didn't have much of an interest in it. Sun Yan fell asleep. But Lin Yi was shocked to realize that Sun Yan's scent was the strongest when she was asleep, and it increased his training speed once more. It was a magical phenomenon that made Lin Yi feel like he couldn't stop it. Lin Yi was starting to miss the military training. It'd be great if he could hug Sun Yan to sleep every night, but Lin Yi knew that wasn't realistic. Chapter 2187. Lin Yi had a good impression of Sun Yan, but Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Sun Yan might think that he was after her scent if he said it now, so Lin Yi might as well not say anything and let nature take its course. Plus, he wanted to find some time to ask Xiao Xiao about the main wife and second wife thing, because he always felt like he had a main wife. Could it be that he really didn't have one? The movie ended in a blink of an eye, but Lin Yi didn't stop. Lin Yi didn't want to give up this golden opportunity. If he accidentally woke Sun Yan up, the effect would be greatly reduced. But Lin Yi didn't want to disturb them, and yet someone had interrupted them. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door, followed by Wei Tuo's loud voice. Big bro Lin, the movie's over, aren't you coming out? Lin Yi opened the door helplessly, and Wei Tuo and Zhao Xingji, on the other hand, stuck their heads into the room curiously. Yawn. Sun Yan, who was in Lin Yi's arms, was woken up as well. She stretched and rubbed her eyes sleepily. Is the movie over? There's something going on. Wei Tuo looked at Sun Yan in Lin Yi's arms, a strange smile on his face. Boss, you can't deny it now, can you? You're hugging each other to sleep. Yeah, I wonder if you did anything to waste your energy before? How could you fall asleep watching a movie otherwise? Zhao Xingji had a suggestive smile on his face as well. Nothing like that. Lin Yi smiled faintly and let go of Sun Yan. The movie's so boring, we were all asleep. Boring? It was really good. Meiwa looked at Lin Yi and Sun Yan mischievously. Sun Yan, do you deny it this time? Deny what? Sun Yan was a little embarrassed. Deny your relationship with Lin Yi, Meiwa said. We're good friends. Sun Yan blushed. Can good friends hug and sleep together? Meiwa asked back. We always slept together during military training, it's not a big deal. Sun Yan wanted to explain, but realized that she'd let it slip. Meiwa and Xiaoling's eyes went wide, and Wei Tuo and Zhao Xingji understood. So there was an affair all along? That's not right, you were hiding it all along, Meiwa said. All right, the movie's over. Let's go back early, Lin Yi said faintly, not answering. Wei Tuo, Meiwa, and the others didn't think too much about it. They walked out of the cinema and went to the parking lot. Only then did they remember that they had 2 cars now. Sun Yan, you take one and Wei Tuo the other, Lin Yi said. Yeah. Sun Yan nodded. And so, Lin Yi, Zhao Xingji, and Wei Tuo took one car, while Sun Yan, Chai Xiaoling, and Meiwa took the other. The 2 cars headed to school together. Boss, you're not a good friend. You don't want to admit it, Wei Tuo said after getting in the car. Hell, let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you guys. How is it? Have you made any progress? Asked Lin Yi. Me? Don't even mention it. I won't even let you touch my hand. By way to aside. Looks like I need to continue working hard. Hee hee. I've made some progress. Chai Shaoling let me kiss her. Of course, it's nothing compared to boss. Zhao Xingji said. Me and Wang Xinyan. Lin Yi wanted to say that there really wasn't anything going on between them, but decided against it. Forget it, let's not talk about that. Lin Yi got out of the car at the school gate. Lin Yi didn't live in the dorm, so he walked from the school gate to the Xueshang district. It wasn't far from here. When he got home, Meng Yao and Yushu were watching TV in the living room, while Grandma's son was cleaning the house. Mr. Lin, you're back. I'm going to do some laundry. Do you want your jacket washed? Grandma's son asked. Sure. Lin Yi took off his jacket and handed it to Grandma's son. Lin Yi changed into his home clothes, and Grandma's son took out everything from Lin Yi's jacket. She put it on the coffee table and went to the laundry room. Huh? What's this? Yushu looked at the bag of colorful stuff Grandma's son took out from Lin Yi's pocket. Is it edible? What? Meng Yao took a closer look at the item, speechless. Lin Yi had bought this? Super thin? Luminous? Screw? What the hell is this? Yushu looked at the stuff in her hands curiously. Finally, she saw some words on a small package. Super smooth. Pfft, I know, Shield Bro and Wang Fox did it. It can't be that fast, right? Meng Yao didn't think that Lin Yi was someone like that. Xiao, Tang Yun, and Lin Yi hadn't even gotten to that point yet. Wang Xinyan, who was just his classmate, had done it. Was that even possible? So it's premeditated? Yushu said. Then you can ask him later. Meng Yao was curious as well. Why did Lin Yi buy this stuff? She didn't want to ask, so she gave the task to Shu. Ah, okay. Yushu nodded. After a while, Lin Yi changed into his home clothes and walked out of the room. He looked at the mists and Shu strangely. Lin Yi looked at his clothes curiously as well. The buttons weren't in the wrong places, were they? What are you guys looking at? Lin Yi asked. Shield Bro, Yao told me to ask you, what are these condoms for? Do you want to do it with me and Yao in the middle of the night? Yushu raised the bag in her hands. Fuck. Meng Yao slapped the back of Yushu's head. Shu, what are you talking about? Why did I tell you to ask? You were the one who said it, let me ask later. Yushu held her head, feeling wronged. Genius, Shu got hit silly. I didn't tell you to say the second half. Meng Yao said. Oh, Shu added it herself. Yushu said. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at the two clowns in front of him. That thing you're talking about was promoted by someone in the theater. He wouldn't stop if I didn't buy it, so I bought it and gave it to you guys. We don't want it. Meng Yao didn't suspect anything after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. You can fill it with water and use it as a water balloon, Yushu said. Why don't you use it as a balloon? Meng Yao glared at Yushu. It's already big, you don't know if it's good or bad. Chapter 2188. Yushu said as she opened the bag and took one out. I like this luminous one, it's pretty flashy, Yao sis, what about you? Piss off. Meng Yao stood up and went upstairs to sleep. Oh, I'm sorry, Yao sis. Yushu gave the bag back to Lin Yi. I'll let you keep it, I'm going to sleep too. Lin Yi went back to his room and threw the bag into the drawer. He sat on his bed and closed his eyes. However, his speed was clearly much slower than before, and could not be mentioned in the same breath. Lin Yi wanted to visit Han Jingjing and talk to her about alchemy, but it was getting late, so Lin Yi decided to talk to her tomorrow. The night went by uneventfully, and the next morning, Han Jingjing yawned as she came for breakfast, but she came a lot earlier than usual. Evidently, she knew that Lin Yi was back and wanted to discuss alchemy with Lin Yi. Lin Yi was also looking for her, so he pulled Han Jingjing into his room before Grandma's son finished cooking. Linny bro, I stayed up all night to study the notes you gave me, and although there are some things that I can learn from, there aren't many. It's not as useful as the notes you gave me, Han Jingjing said. I've finished scanning, I'll give it back to you later. And the information I gave you before is basically the best, Linny said. Don't let anyone see it, and don't mention it, especially right coiling tiger. Jingjing knows, Jingjing isn't an idiot, I won't say anything. Han Jingjing nodded. Right, I've asked White Boss about the multiple materials, and this is what he said. With that, Linny told Han Jingjing about White Boss's explanation. I see. Han Jingjing nodded. Jingjing, after a few days, I'm going to gather some ingredients for a second-grade pill and try to refine it. Oh right, here's a small chi-gathering pill, take it. After you take it, you'll be able to advance to the early phase of the Earth class. It'll be very beneficial for your alchemy, Linny said as he handed a small chi-gathering pill to Han Jingjing. Of the 3 small chi-gathering pills, one was for Han Jingjing, and one was for Linny to give to the purple lightning tempest beast. As for the last one, he had not decided who to give it to. All right. Han Jingjing took the small chi-gathering pill and swallowed it without hesitation. She began to circulate her inner force mantra to dissolve the effects of the pill. A pill master's mantra was indeed different from other mantras. Han Jingjing had taken a small chi-gathering pill to forcibly increase her strength to break through to Earth stage, but it wasn't as painful as Han Xiaopa had been. It was as if everything was natural. However, just as Han Jingjing was about to break through, someone knocked on Lin Yi's door. Mr. Lin, dinner's ready. You can eat now. Grandma Sun's voice rang out. Grandma Sun, wait a moment. You guys eat first. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing. Han Jingjing was on the verge of a breakthrough. Although it was easier for a pill master to break through than a normal person, Lin Yi didn't dare leave. He had to do it for Han Jingjing. If something happened to Han Jingjing, Lin Yi would regret it. To Lin Yi, Han Jingjing was a big treasure. She was a mobile cauldron, after all. If something happened, Lin Yi wouldn't even be able to find a place to cry. Grandma Sun didn't think much of Lin Yi's words, but Meng Yao and Yushu were curious. What were Lin Yi and Han Jingjing doing in his room? They weren't even eating breakfast? Yao Yao, what do you think Shield Bro and Dum Jing are doing in the room? Yushu said as she looked at Lin Yi's room. She wanted to barge in. Let's get down to business, Meng Yao said faintly. Say, can we try the condoms from yesterday? Yushu asked. Shu, I think your thoughts are getting more and more complicated, Meng Yao said. Who did you learn it from? Yao Yao, Yushu said. Are you looking for a beating? Meng Yao was pissed. You are marked by the company you keep. I'm with Yao Yao every day, Yushu said. Then why didn't I become as dumb as you? Meng Yao asked. Shu is not dumb either, Yushu said. Just when Meng Yao and Yushu were arguing, Lin Yi's door was finally pushed open. Han Jingjing was sweating, but her face was glowing. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was calm. Their expressions made Yushu suspicious. Shield Bro, what were you doing with Han Jingjing just now? Yushu asked. Breakthrough, Lin Yi said. You guys broke through that level of relationship? Yushu's mouth was wide open. She didn't think that she was right. What relationship? Lin Yi was confused. Han Jingjing broke through to Earth class early phase. Oh. It's nothing. Yushu closed her mouth. Come eat breakfast, I left some for you guys. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. This girl was always messing around. After breakfast, the 4 of them drove to school. In the car, Lin Yi called Zhao Qikun, but his phone was turned off. This made Lin Yi's heart sink. Thinking back to Zhao Qibing's expression last night, and the fact that Qikun didn't show up at the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi had a bad feeling. Did something happen to his follower? But in the Hidden House, the only people close to Lin Yi were him and Zhao Qijio. If Lin Yi asked others, it would undoubtedly expose their relationship, and if something really happened to Zhao Qikun, it would only make things worse. So Lin Yi couldn't ask the Hidden House directly. He could only place his hopes on Xiao Xiao of the Ice Palace, hoping that she would be able to get some information from Chijiao. Perhaps Chijiao might know something. But Lin Yi didn't know Xiao Xiao's contact information, so he turned to Meng Yao and Yushu. Did Xiao Xiao contact you guys? Do you have her contact information? Xiao Xiao, we did contact her, but we don't have her contact information. Meng Yao didn't know why Lin Yi would suddenly ask about Xiao Xiao. Then it's fine. It seemed that Lin Yi could only write a message to Bingshui Town and ask Manager Li to pass it to Xiao Xiao. This was the only contact information Lin Yi had with Xiao Xiao. Chapter 2189. Looking at the caller ID, it was Sun Jingyi this time. Lin Yi picked up the phone. Jingyi? Great thief, I've confirmed the location of Wulonghout mountain range. Do you want to go with me? Sun Jingyi's words were filled with joy. Perhaps this trip to Wulonghout could reveal some of her parents' secrets. Naturally, she was very happy. You've confirmed it? How about this? I'll go find you at noon. We'll talk when we meet, Lin Yi said. Sun Jingyi? Meng Yao frowned after Lin Yi hung up. You're going to find her? Yeah, I promised her that I'll go with her to find the mystery of her birth parents, Lin Yi said. Oh. Meng Yao replied faintly, not too happy about it. Shield bro, Yao Yao sis is angry. Do you like Wang Xinyan or Sun Jingyi? You can't always be too timing, can you? Why don't you choose Han Jingjing? Yushu asked for Meng Yao. What do I have to do with Jingjing? Han Jingjing blushed. I'm just learning alchemy from Lin Yi bro. I need something called pure topaz, and it just so happens that Sun Jingyi has a piece of it. It's something her parents left for her. Lin Yi had no choice but to explain bitterly. Sun Jingyi gave this piece of jade to me, but by some coincidence, I found an incomplete map in this pure topaz. Lin Yi didn't tell Meng Yao and the others in detail, but since they asked, Lin Yi didn't hide it. The people in the car were all people that Lin Yi trusted. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't hide it. So that's how it is. She's even willing to give you her parents' belongings. Don't let her down. Meng Yao sighed. It seemed that Sun Jingyi really treated Lin Yi well. This was a headache. Xiao Xiao only had one target for the main wife. Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing were competing, and now there was this Sun Jingyi. It didn't look like it was going to be easy. It's just that she's a girl. It's not convenient for her to go to the mountains alone. I'm just accompanying her, Lin Yi said. It's not as complicated as you say. The group arrived at the school. At the same time, in the hidden Zhao family in the East Sea, Elder Yu and Elder Zhao had a huge argument, and parted on bad terms. Elder Zhao told the truth, stating that Yu Wuxing was the one who gave the qi-gathering pill to House Zhao, but Elder Zhao was still the one in the wrong in this matter. Even if Yu Wuxing had taken the initiative to give it to him, the hidden Zhao family shouldn't have kept it a secret. After all, such a treasure was an enormous treasure that was extremely rare and hard to come by. Furthermore, the two families were in-laws. Logically speaking, Elder Zhao should have told Elder Yu about it at least. No matter how one looked at it, it didn't make sense to keep everything to oneself. However, this qi-amassing pill was personally given to the hidden Zhao family by Yu Wuxing. Hence, Elder Yu wanted to reason with him. But he couldn't find a suitable reason. He didn't want to waste any more words. The two families parted on bad terms. Zhao Qibing had just bought a car as a reward for his hard work during this period of time. After the Hidden House summit, he wanted to relax, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to steal his car. He returned to the Hidden House with a belly full of anger. But Zhao Qibing didn't dare hide it. He told Elder Bai and Elder Zhao everything about Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi was the public enemy of House Zhao, and he couldn't hide anything from Lin Yi. This Lin Yi is too much. Elder Bai humphed coldly after hearing the words. He was famous for being protective of his own people. Once he recognized Zhao Qibing as his disciple, he would naturally protect him. Even if it was the children of House Zhao who caused trouble first, he would still blame it on Lin Yi. You can't blame Lin Yi for this. It's just Qibing's bad luck, running into him. Any other Hidden House's child would probably end up the same if they ran into Lin Yi. Elder Zhao waved his hand and said faintly, Even the fire wolves can't do anything in front of Lin Yi. Don't look at how arrogant they are in front of us. That's true, something big happened to the fire wolves a while ago, and although they didn't say anything, there was news that Lin Yi broke Jiang Wen's leg in front of an Earth-class late-phase peak protector from the fire wolves, and even scammed him for a huge amount of money. Elder Bai nodded. Qibing, so it's not like you're losing face. Of course, if they knew that the fire wolves had lost another 2 million and a car, they'd feel even better. Right, but Lin Yi asked me something, Qibing said. Lin Yi asked me about Zhao Qiqun, and although he said that Zhao Qiqun was his enemy, and that he didn't see Zhao Qiqun at the meeting, I feel like he's lying to me, as expected. Elder Zhao nodded. If Lin Yi hadn't asked, I wouldn't have been sure if that Zhao Qiqun was telling Lin Yi, but Lin Yi's question confirmed it. That's right, Zhao Qiqun is a traitor, and if he gets close to Lin Yi, he'll be a huge problem for House Zhao when he grows up, Elder Bai said. Yeah, if Zhao Qiqun really was Lin Yi's enemy, would Lin Yi be so free to ask him? Qibing said. Lin Yi isn't someone with that much free time, he's just a small character. There were so many people in the Ice Palace trial, and he asked Zhao Qiqun, that means something. Elder Bai, what do you think? Elder Zhao sighed. Qiqun is a disciple of House Zhao, after all, and although he might be friends with Lin Yi, he didn't admit it himself, and we can't force him. Head, I have a good idea, Elder Bai said after a sigh. Oh? What idea? Elder Zhao asked. After a while, it'll be the test of the Sky Elixir School. At that time, we can let Zhao Qiqun join the test, whether he admits it or not. We can just let him join the test, that's the best way to solve this problem once and for all, Elder Bai said. The Sky Elixir sex trial. Elder Zhao's face changed. He knew about it, but compared to the Ice Palace trial, the rewards were much better, but it was also much more dangerous. And so, many hidden houses would rather participate in the Ice Palace trial than the Sky Elixir one. Chapter 2190. Of course, there were those who were lucky enough to complete the mission and come back with great rewards from Sky Elixir. Third-level elixir. They could choose any third-level elixir from the Sky Elixir sect. This reward was enough to make all the noble houses go crazy, but it was too dangerous. They couldn't just send their core disciples to the test, and if they died, they'd lose everything, not even the elixir. After all, the number of people who could get elixirs was very few, and so all these years, the disciples who went to the Sky Elixir sect were either the bastard children of the house, afraid that they'd threaten the position of the head of the house, or they weren't of the same surname. If they died, then so be it. But if they succeeded, they'd get a lot of glory and rewards. Since we've already chosen Zhao Qibing to be the next head of the house, if Qiqun is still here, he'll always be a problem, Elder Bai said. All right, I'll find a chance to talk to Qiqun. Old Zhao sighed. Qiqun was his grandson, after all. He didn't have high hopes for him, but he didn't want anything to happen to him. If it weren't for Qiqun telling Lin Yi about the Hidden House Summit, old Zhao wouldn't have made the decision to send him away. Actually, you don't have to be troubled, head of the house. A while ago, we talked about this Sky Elixir test, and Qiqun was actually quite enthusiastic about it, Elder Bai said faintly. He knows his position in the house, and he knows that if he wants to get promoted, he has to keep making contributions. So we're sending him to the test, and that's what he wants. All right. Old Zhao finally made up his mind. Qiqun was very troubled. He didn't think that he'd be caught red-handed by Qibing just calling Lin Yi. There was no way he could defend himself from the call records. What reason did he have to call Lin Yi? Qiqun didn't think that even if he made up a story, Elder Bai and Old Zhao would see through it. And so Qiqun felt that he was very unlucky he had been hiding House Zhao. If he wanted to have a say in House Zhao, he had to find another way. In this hidden house meeting, he secretly saw that Lin Yi was representing House Han, and he wanted to tell Lin Yi that Zhao Qibing's car was modified. But before they could spread the news, Qibing and Elder Bai caught them in the act. And so, Qiqun was locked up. He was worried, but there was nothing he could do. All of his communication devices had been taken away, so it was impossible to contact him even if he wanted to. Linny saw Sun Yan's Porsche Cayenne in the parking lot when he arrived at school. The damage was still there, and it seemed that Sun Yan hadn't had time to get it fixed. However, Bai Weituo's Audi Q7 didn't stop there. Linny guessed that he might have heard it from downstairs of the boxing club. He walked with Han Jingjing to the biology department's teaching building. Similarly, just like last time, he was stopped by Right Coiling Tiger, Yellow Hair, and Purple Hair on the way. "I say, Right Coiling Tiger, why are you doing this again? What do you want this time?" Linny could guess what Right Coiling Tiger was thinking, but he didn't show it on his face. "Ha, Linny, I have something to say to you actually. I want to make a deal with you. You know what I mean. Some things can't be said in the classroom. If Boss Bai hears it, it won't be good for either of us," Right Coiling Tiger said. "What? You're not thinking about that information again, are you?" Linny smiled coldly. "There's no way I'm going to trade with you this time. Don't even think about it." "Don't. Let's talk." Right Coiling Tiger saw that Linny was so determined. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was the real deal. Otherwise, Linny wouldn't be so determined. He'd be playing hard to get. "I don't have anything good to say to you," Linny said indifferently. "Linny, there's a good saying. In this world, there's nothing that can't be bought, it just depends on whether you have enough chips," Right Coiling Tiger said. "Even if you don't want to listen to my chips, don't be in such a hurry to reject me. Not interested." After saying that, Linny pushed Right Coiling Tiger away and was about to leave with Han Jingjing. "Huh! Wait!" Right Coiling Tiger panicked. 5 second-grade pills, how about it? Is that enough chips?" "No," Linny said. "Linny, don't be so ungrateful. I already know that you aren't an elixir refiner at all. You must be in urgent need of elixirs. 5 second-level elixirs, think about it, it's priceless," Pan Hu said. "Are you retarded? If I lacked pills, I had plenty of chances to exchange for them during the Hidden House Summit." "Why wouldn't I?" Linny asked. Didn't you purposely make me raise the conditions of the competition to create the illusion that you're an alchemist?" Right Coiling Tiger said. "You're thinking too much," Linny said indifferently. "I've won so many competitions, one more doesn't matter. Plus, I didn't even win. Don't you want the lesser chi-gathering pills? How about 5 small chi-gathering pills?" Right Coiling Tiger said. "It can let the people around you break through to Earth class. That's my bottom line. 5 lesser chi-gathering pills, what's the difference between 5 second-grade pills and 5 second-grade pills?" Linny looked at Right Coiling Tiger mockingly. "All right, stop playing word games. I don't have time, I'm going to school. You can play by yourself." After Linny said that, he left with Han Jingjing, leaving Right Coiling Tiger to complain angrily. F***CK, not even 5 second-grade pills? Young Master Right, Linny didn't hold back this time, nor did he pretend. I'm guessing that the information in his hands is very important. Otherwise, he wouldn't not be tempted. After all, if he shows us the information, we'll get 5 lesser chi-gathering pills for nothing. Yellow Hair said. That's right. I think Linny thinks that we don't have enough chips. Purple Hair also said. I'll discuss it with Uncle again. Right Coiling Tiger had no choice but to take out his phone and call his uncle, hidden in the right house. After Kong Ming Ming left, Right Jintian carefully walked into the secret room where the sky silkworm transformation was located with an antique medicinal cauldron. Right Jintian greets young Master Tian. Right Jintian respectfully bowed to the sky silkworm transformation, then carefully said to Old Man Yu, Father, I brought that treasure. All right, young Master Tian and Fifth Elder, please take a look and see what this medicinal cauldron is. Old Man Yu nodded. Chapter 2191. Oh? This medicine cauldron looks a little special. Silkworm Transformation's eyes lit up slightly as he took the medicine cauldron and examined it carefully. However, as he examined it, he frowned. After a while, he said in disappointment, This medicine cauldron is damaged. Fifth uncle, what do you think? Young sect master said that it is damaged. Naturally, it can't be wrong. The fifth elder took the medicine cauldron from Silkworm Transformation's hands and examined it carefully for a long time before returning it to Yuzhentian. This medicine cauldron is a good medicine cauldron. It should be an item from the ancient times or even the primordial times, but it has cracks and is damaged. It can't be used for alchemy, then. Can it be repaired? Yuzhentian was a little disappointed when he heard Silkworm Transformation and the fifth elder's evaluation. No. Fifth elder shook his head and said, Now that the way of forging has been lost, this is also the reason why our heavenly elixir sect can make first-grade and second-grade medicine cauldrons but not third-grade medicine cauldrons. But can't it be repaired even if it can't be forged? Yuzhentian asked. Repairing? Repairing isn't easier than forging, the fifth elder said. Legend has it that one needs to have the three attributes of metal, fire, and wood in order to learn blacksmithing. As for blacksmithing, one needs to have both the metal and wood attributes at the same time. The path of blacksmithing has been passed down in the world, but there is only the path of blacksmithing. There is no matching mental cultivation method. Metal restrains wood, so ordinary mental cultivation methods cannot be practiced at the same time. Therefore, this medicine cauldron of yours is actually of no value. In terms of value, it can only be regarded as an ornamental object. I see. Yuzhentian felt a heartache. He had bought this thing from an antique collector at a high price. Because that person was a collector and did not easily sell his collection, Yuzhentian had spent dozens of times more than the market price to buy this medicine cauldron. He had also paid a lot of other prices. In the end, it was just an ornamental object, which made him regret it. If he had known this would happen, he would not have spent so much money to buy it. Yuzhentian did not have a hobby of collecting antiques. Moreover, even if he did collect antiques, wouldn't he be stupid to buy antiques at this price? He had a good plan previously. He wanted to give this thing to Silkworm Transformation to gain a good impression for the Yu family. But now it seemed that the heavenly elixir sect didn't want it at all. Yuzhentian, I appreciate your kindness. I won't mistreat you for working so hard for our heavenly elixir sect. Silkworm Transformation naturally understood Yuzhentian's thoughts and comforted him. Thank you, young sect master Tian. Yuzhentian was delighted when he heard heavenly Silkworm Transformation's affirmation. All right, Yuzhentian. You can leave first. Old Master Yu was also a little disappointed. Although he got a verbal affirmation of the Sky Silkworm Transformation, this thing was not taken seriously by others. The Yu family bought a piece of junk at a high price, which made him a little depressed. Yes. Yuzhentian turned around and retreated. Just as he walked out of the secret room, his phone rang. Yuzhentian picked up the phone and saw that it was Yu Panhu, so he quickly picked up the phone. Hello? Coiling Tiger, how is it? Did you get it? Eldest uncle. This time, that Linny seems to be very vigilant. I offered him 5 second-grade elixirs, and they were all small chi-gathering elixirs, but he didn't want them all. He turned around and left. Yu Panhu said with a bitter smile. Oh? What does he mean? Does he think that the chips are too little, or he doesn't want to exchange with you at all? Yuzhentian asked. He doesn't really want to exchange, but since he showed it to others and I forced him, he should be able to exchange. Moreover, when I mentioned the chips, he also stopped in his tracks. After listening to me, he refused. Right, Coiling Tiger said. In that case, it must be that the chips we offered are not enough. Yuzhentian pondered for a moment and said, How about this? You give him another supreme-grade ancient medicine cauldron, and see if he wants to exchange. Supreme-grade ancient medicine cauldron? Do we have such things in our family? Even if we do, we can't exchange it with Lin Yi. Yu Panhu said subconsciously after being stunned for a moment. Of course we do. Do you remember the medicine cauldron I bought from an antique collector previously? Yuzhentian said as he raised the medicine cauldron in his hand. Oh, I remember. But that medicine cauldron, didn't you say that it was to be given to the people above us? Yupanhu didn't directly say the name of the Heavenly Elixir sect. After all, he was in school, so it was better to avoid it. Sigh. Yuzhentian sighed and said, "That medicine cauldron is a good thing, but the Heavenly Elixir sect can't repair it. Therefore, that medicine cauldron is like a waste and can only be used as an ornament. It can't be, right?" Yupanhu pondered for a moment and said, "All right, then give it to me. I'll bluff Linny. That fool doesn't seem to know much about alchemy, let alone having any great knowledge. Maybe he thinks that he can repair it, so he can get a bargain. And that's what I mean. That Linny naturally doesn't have the knowledge of the Heavenly Elixir sect. You can bluff him and exchange this medicine cauldron for something useful to our family," Yuzhentian said. "The alchemist's notes are more useful than this medicine cauldron." "I understand. How about this, uncle? Take a picture of the medicine cauldron and send it to me." Linny is someone who won't release the eagle without seeing the rabbit. Even if I tell him without telling him, he might not believe me, Yupanhu said. "All right, I'll send it to you now." Yuzhentian nodded and said. Linny and Han Jingjing came to the classroom. Seeing that Yupanhu didn't follow, Han Jingjing said, "Brother Linny, can't you return this information to Yupanhu and exchange it for something good?" "Yes, but the things he gave are too little, and they aren't of much use to us," Linny said. "I already have 3 small chi-gathering pills. Any more is useless." "Then, can I ask him for some materials to refine second-grade elixirs?" Han Jingjing hesitated and said, "Although Jingjing's family is also doing business and has some connections with medicine, ordinary medicinal materials can be purchased, but the medicinal materials for second-grade medicinal pills are not easy to collect." "Okay, what materials do you want?" "You make a list, I'll ask him for it." Linny nodded and said, "Really? Brother Linny, you are so good to Jingjing." Han Jingjing was a little excited after listening. She was worried about finding the refining materials for second-grade medicinal pills, and Yupanhu came to her door. Chapter 2192. She didn't know how much this moving furnace was worth. If the ancient sects found it, they'd probably treat it like a treasure. "Yes, then I'll work hard and try not to waste materials this time." Han Jingjing nodded. Xinyan had already arrived at the classroom, and she blushed when she saw Linny walking over. What happened last night was too ambiguous, and she didn't have a chance to talk to Linny after leaving the theater. She was interrogated by Himeiwa and the others when she got back to the dorm, and she didn't know if she should explain or not. In the end, she had no choice but to acquiesce to her relationship with Linny. The key was that she had to acquiesce, and Himeiwa wouldn't believe her even if she didn't acquiesce, and she kept asking questions. In the end, Xinyan could only acquiesce. "Morning," Linny greeted Xinyan with a smile. "Yeah." Xinyan nodded. "Sorry for the trouble yesterday," Linny said softly after sitting down. "It's not really troublesome, they've thought that way since the beginning. Take by Weitua for example, it doesn't matter if I explain or not, they'll still call me sis-in-law. What's the point?" Xinyan smiled bitterly. "That's true, then let's ignore them. I'm just worried that you'll feel burdened." Linny saw that Xinyan didn't have any special reaction, and he let out a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Xinyan would feel uncomfortable. "What burdens can I have? It's fine as long as the two of us know what's going on." Xinyan shrugged. "As for what other people think, I don't care. It's too tiring to live for others. Actually, I didn't mean to take advantage of you yesterday. It's just that it's faster to train with you in my arms," Linny explained. "Yeah. I know," Xinyan said. She didn't know, but she trusted Linny. Linny wanted to say something, but Coiling Tiger Right, Yellow Hair, and Purple Hair walked into the classroom, walking towards Linny. "Linny, let's talk?" Coiling Tiger walked over, casually pulled out a chair, and sat down on the aisle beside Linny. "What's there to talk about?" Linny asked back. "Don't you just want to see the information in my hands?" "Heh, not bad. Since you know my purpose, then I won't beat around the bush. Linny, what do I have to do for you to exchange with me?" Right, Coiling Tiger wasn't afraid that Lin Yi would expose his purpose. He was afraid that Lin Yi would beat around the bush. I don't want to change, Lin Yi said. You don't want to trade? Coiling Tiger Right paused, thinking that there was a way. Not wanting to trade and not wanting to trade were two completely different concepts. Not wanting to trade meant that Lin Yi didn't want to, but it wasn't impossible to change his mind. Lin Yi, do you think that my bargaining chip doesn't meet your bottom line? Let's not play Tai Chi, just tell me the truth. What are your conditions? Me? What conditions do I have? You're the one who wants to trade with me. I don't want to trade. Lin Yi looked at Coiling Tiger Right, a little mocking. Since you're not playing games with me, why don't you tell me what you're offering? Let me see if I'm interested, then I'll trade. If not, then forget it. All right. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded. He'd already gotten to this point, and he'd gotten a clear answer. He didn't need to hide anymore, and said his bottom line. The 5-second level elixirs from before remain the same, and I'll add an ancient medicine cauldron as well. An ancient medicine cauldron? Lin Yi was a little shocked after listening to Coiling Tiger Right's words. An ancient medicine cauldron, would he use it to exchange for an alchemist's notes? Was there something wrong with his head? If such a good thing existed, it would be a family heirloom. How could he exchange it with others so casually? Yes, but I know you may not believe it, but I have a photo here. I can show it to you first. If you agree, I'll have someone send it over immediately. Coiling Tiger Right nodded and said, Coiling Tiger Right, it's not that I don't believe you, but you have to at least give me a reason to believe you, right? An ancient medicine cauldron, if your head isn't filled with water, would you use such a good thing to exchange for my alchemist's notes? Lin Yi looked at Coiling Tiger Right like he was looking at an idiot. How credible do you think your words are? Even if you say it, do you believe it? It's undeniable that this alchemist's notes have some value, but compared with an ancient medicine cauldron, it's a world of difference. You wouldn't use a fake to fool me, right? This, how could it be? Coiling Tiger Right was a little embarrassed after listening to Lin Yi's words. He originally wanted to brag about this medicine cauldron again to highlight how good this medicine cauldron was, but he neglected one point. The bargaining chip he took out this time was obviously not equal to the value of the alchemist's notes, so Lin Yi had doubts. It's not really a fake, right? Lin Yi looked at Coiling Tiger Right's awkward expression and asked coldly. If you're making fun of me, then you can get lost. Cough. Coiling Tiger Right coughed and laughed dryly. Actually, you're not wrong. If it's an ancient medicine cauldron without any problems, don't mention me exchanging it with you. I don't even have the qualifications to touch it. Then what do you mean? Lin Yi asked. To tell you the truth, this medicine cauldron is indeed an ancient medicine cauldron, but it has a crack, which means it's broken. Coiling Tiger Right said. However, if you have the means, you can try to repair it. If you can repair it, then its value can be as high as a city. If it could be repaired, would it be my turn? Lin Yi listened to Coiling Tiger Right's words and fell into deep thought. Previously, when he was hiding in the Han family, he obtained the remnant of the tool-mending scroll. However, these 2 days Lin Yi had more things to do, so he didn't have the time to carefully study it. But if he could thoroughly study it, could he repair this damaged medicine cauldron? This, under normal circumstances, it can't be repaired, but Lin Yi, you're so powerful, maybe you can repair it by chance? Coiling Tiger Right simply said. This thing is a good thing, but if anyone can repair it, do you think I'll still exchange it with you? What you said sounds like a human, Lin Yi said. Coiling Tiger Right was a little speechless. So what I said before was not a human? Chapter 2193. Ugh, you can't say that. Aren't we talking about the terms of the exchange? Yu Panhu said. The deal is a two-way deal. If you don't think it's possible, you can put forward your request. I just stated my bottom line. You tell me your bottom line. Let's combine it. Isn't it fine? Okay. Lin Yi nodded and said. Since you want to exchange so much, I will tell you my bottom line. Jingjing, give me the list. Okay, brother Lin Yi. Han Jingjing had already listed the refining materials she needed. Lin Yi took Han Jingjing's list and glanced at it. It was the refining materials for 3 kinds of second-grade medicinal pills, including the small qi-gathering pill. Lin Yi marked a number on the list, then handed it to Yu Panhu and said, "The refining materials for 3 kinds of second-grade medicinal pills, 5 of each. Plus the medicinal cauldron you mentioned just now, this is my bottom line." "Ugh, 5 of each? Isn't that 15 sets of second-grade medicinal pills materials equivalent to 15 second-grade medicinal pills?" Yu Panhu was shocked and asked, "Are you stupid or don't you know how to calculate? Your family's 15 sets of second-grade medicinal pills materials are equivalent to 15 second-grade medicinal pills?" Lin Yi rolled his eyes. 15 portions of ingredients for a second-level elixir. Can you make 15 second-level elixirs? This? Yu Panhu thought about it. It was also true. Even if Old Master Yu made a move, it was impossible to refine 15 second-grade medicinal pills with 15 sets of second-grade medicinal pills materials. It was already very high to have a 1/3 success rate. After all, Old Master Yu was only a second-grade alchemist, and the success rate was 20 to 30%. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's request was not increased, but lowered a lot. This made Yu Panhu a little puzzled. "Are you sure this is your bottom line?" "Yes," Lin Yi said. "You'd better not play any tricks. If I didn't need some second-grade medicinal pills materials for experiments, I would be too lazy to exchange with you." Okay. I'll contact the family and have them send these materials and the cauldron over." After figuring out the value of these second-grade elixir materials, Right Coiling Tiger immediately made a decision. This was something that he could decide. "Okay, send me the picture of the cauldron to study first," Lin Yi said. "No problem." Right Coiling Tiger readily agreed. After sending a text message to Lin Yi, he said, "Since the deal has been reached, should I take a look at the alchemist's notes first? Do you think I'll show it to you?" Lin Yi asked. Let's talk about it after we exchange." Panhu Right also felt that Lin Yi definitely wouldn't let him see it. What if he didn't give him anything after he saw it? "Then why are you still sitting here? Boss Bai is here. Do you want to be scolded?" Lin Yi asked. "Ha, I'm leaving now." Right Coiling Tiger thought that Lin Yi was afraid. He was afraid that Boss Bai would know that he had exchanged information privately. Therefore, in Right Coiling Tiger's opinion, if Lin Yi dared to play tricks, then he would go to Boss Bai to report what Lin Yi had done. After Right Coiling Tiger left, Lin Yi turned on his phone and studied the top-grade medicinal cauldron from the ancient times that Right Coiling Tiger mentioned. The medicinal cauldron in the picture did look antique, but it could also be seen from the picture that the medicinal cauldron was very broken. Even though this was the best angle, the person who took the picture had tried his best to choose the most complete side of the medicinal cauldron. However, even so, this medicinal cauldron was still broken. There were dense cracks on it. At first glance, it was obvious that it was an ornamental object that couldn't be used for alchemy. Of course, in the hands of others, it was an ornamental object, but in the hands of Lin Yi, it might not be so. Lin Yi had a remnant scroll on the path of artifact mending. Perhaps he could find a way to repair this top-grade medicinal cauldron from it. Therefore, Lin Yi exchanged it back and studied it. Perhaps he could gain something. Even if he couldn't repair it, the 15 portions of second-grade elixir materials were worth it. Han Jingjing needed second-grade elixir materials to experiment. Right Coiling Tiger happened to be worried about what others were thinking. He was really too considerate. However, this medicinal cauldron gave Lin Yi a somewhat familiar feeling. Lin Yi seemed to have seen this medicinal cauldron somewhere before, but he didn't seem to have much of an impression of it. After thinking for a while, Lin Yi didn't have much of an impression. Instead, Boss Bai came. For the entire morning, Lin Yi calmly spent his time cultivating and listening to lectures. At noon, Lin Yi promised Sun Jingyi that he would look for her. When he left the classroom, he was stopped by Right Coiling Tiger. "Lin Yi, wait a minute." Right Coiling Tiger had already told his uncle, Right Jintian, about Lin Yi's conditions in the morning. Right Juntian almost didn't think about it, and agreed to Lin Yi's request. In his eyes, the value of 15 portions of second-grade elixir materials was about the same as 5 second-grade elixir materials. Lin Yi's request was not considered a request at all. After Right Juntian prepared these things, he sent a core disciple of the Yu family, Right Ten, to deliver these things to Right Coiling Tiger. "Oh, it seems that you have prepared all the things I want." Lin Yi saw the bag in Right Coiling Tiger's hand and asked faintly. "Yes, I have prepared the things," Right Coiling Tiger said. "It's here." "Lin Yi, can we exchange the materials this time?" "Don't worry. I haven't inspected the goods yet," Lin Yi said unhurriedly. "It just so happens that I haven't eaten at noon. You can treat me." Right Coiling Tiger was a little speechless, but who asked him to beg Lin Yi? So he nodded and said, "Where do we go to eat? I have no problem treating you, but let's confirm the transaction first. Go to the Shueshang Business Hotel. I will naturally trade with you when we get there," said Lin Yi. "Okay." Right Coiling Tiger had no choice but to follow Lin Yi to the parking lot and get in Lin Yi's Grand Cherokee. Along the way, Right Coiling Tiger wanted to speak several times but stopped himself. However, when he saw Lin Yi's calm look, he knew that Lin Yi probably wouldn't care about him even if he said it. It couldn't be helped. Right Coiling Tiger couldn't wait to put the package in his hand on the table when they arrived at the Shueshang Business Hotel. "Lin Yi, can we trade now?" His only purpose of coming here was to trade with Lin Yi. As for eating at the same table with Lin Yi, he didn't have that kind of leisure. "Wait, I haven't ordered yet." Lin Yi waved his hand, called the waiter, and brought the menu. It was a special meal. Right Coiling Tiger was a little speechless, but he still waited patiently for Lin Yi to finish ordering. Then he said, "Is it okay now?" Chapter 2194. Right Coiling Tiger took out a credit card helplessly and handed it to the waiter. "Pay the bill first." "I'll swipe my card." "Okay, sir." The waiter took the POS machine and swiped the card for Right Coiling Tiger. Then, he went out to prepare the dishes. "Lin Yi, are you done? If you don't want to exchange, just say it. You don't have to find so many excuses." Right Coiling Tiger was really impatient. "If you regret it, just say it." "Oh, you really guessed it." "I did regret it." Lin Yi nodded and said. "Aye, damn." Right Coiling Tiger almost jumped. "What do you want? Why did you regret it?" "Actually, I regret it because of you," said Lin Yi. "Because of me? What do you mean?" asked Right Coiling Tiger. "Last time, I exchanged information with you, and then you took it to heart. You kept saying that I cheated you, so I was thinking, after exchanging with you this time, would you do the same?" Lin Yi said with a straight face. "So after a whole morning of serious consideration, I've decided not to trade with you. F***ck, are you playing with me?" Right Coiling Tiger was so depressed that he almost lost his temper, but he suddenly remembered that the person in front of him was Lin Yi. He was not allowed to lose his temper. If he lost his temper and got beaten up, he wouldn't be able to find a place to reason. He could only swallow his anger and say, "A man can't go back on his words. You still don't understand? I'm thinking for you. I'm afraid that you will regret it when the time comes. Then, you will become a eunuch," said Lin Yi. "I'll become a eunuch? How did I become a eunuch?" Right Coiling Tiger was stunned. "Didn't you say that a man can't go back on his words? I'm afraid that when the time comes, you won't be a man," Lin Yi explained. "All right, Lin Yi, don't say these useless things. You don't have to think about me. I'm willing to exchange information with you. I won't go back on my word." "Don't worry," Right Coiling Tiger said. "Is that okay now?" "Well, since you're so sincere, I'll trade with you." Lin Yi nodded and said, "Open the package. I want to inspect the goods." "If I let you inspect the goods, you should also let me inspect the goods, right?" Right Coiling Tiger had an idea and said. Lin Yi rolled his eyes. "Right Coiling Tiger, are you trying to challenge our intelligence? I've already shown you my information. What value does it have? You won't lose anything even if I see your things. All right, take a look then. Right Coiling Tiger didn't waste any more words. He opened the package and presented the item to Lin Yi. He just wanted to end this deal as soon as possible. He opened the package, and an antique cauldron appeared in front of Lin Yi. However, after seeing the real thing, Lin Yi realized that this cauldron was even more broken than he'd imagined. The picture on the right side of the cauldron was only the front of the cauldron. Even though the front of the cauldron was densely covered with cracks, the back of the cauldron was a huge crack from top to bottom. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was too horrible to look at. This thing was real. With Lin Yi's eyes, he could tell that it was an antique. When he went with Ling Shan to rob the tomb, Lin Yi had learned a lot about antiques. However, from the looks of it, this thing couldn't be used to make pills. It was leaking all over the place, and it couldn't even be used to brew medicine. This thing is more broken than I imagined. Lin Yi sighed. Lin Yi, don't say that. If it was something good, would I trade it with you? It's this kind of useless stuff that our hidden house you would trade with. Right Coiling Tiger said. You've already agreed. Don't go back on your word. I didn't go back on my word. Look at how scared you are. Lin Yi put down the cauldron and said faintly. He began to check the materials for the level 2 pills. Humph! Right Coiling Tiger snorted and ignored Lin Yi. He quietly waited for Lin Yi's inspection results. Not bad. It's not bad. With that, Lin Yi tied the package and put it beside him. He then threw a document to Right Coiling Tiger. This is what you need. Hee hee. When Right Coiling Tiger saw that Lin Yi was finally willing to let go, he was overjoyed. He took the document and looked at it carefully. Right Coiling Tiger was an alchemist. Although his rank was relatively low, he was only a level 1 alchemist. However, he had seen and heard since he was a child. He knew a lot about alchemy. Although he hadn't dabbled in those advanced alchemy techniques, he could still distinguish the quality of the information at a glance. Just looking at one page, Right Coiling Tiger's face became dignified. This information was indeed good stuff. This time, Lin Yi didn't lie to him. Fortunately, Right Coiling Tiger also breathed a sigh of relief. When he looked at the back, he nodded even more. Some of the views and techniques described in this information, Right Coiling Tiger also heard Old Master Yu mention some of them when he taught the younger generation, so this information should be true without a doubt. It was impossible for Lin Yi to fool him. After looking at a few more pages, the things inside made Right Coiling Tiger feel refreshed. Before, Old Master Yu only talked about some basic experiences of alchemy, and the later records were some of the experiences and essentials of a level 1 alchemist. Right Coiling Tiger was amazed. Many things that he couldn't figure out, and he didn't have time to ask Old Master Yu about, could be explained and answered here. Seeing this, Right Coiling Tiger no longer had any doubts. He nodded heavily and said, Lin Yi, this time you are quite honest. You didn't deceive me with simple things. Oh, you got the thing. You can get out now. Go make a copy and return the original version directly to Han Jingjing. Lin Yi was secretly surprised. Didn't Boss Bai say that this was the alchemist's notes of the Heavenly Elixir sect? It stands to reason that the Right family should have it hidden. Why does Right Coiling Tiger look like he got a treasure? Get out! Aren't you going to eat? After Right Coiling Tiger got the good stuff, his appetite was very good. He was really a little hungry. I won't eat with you. I called you here to pay the bill, Lin Yi said. Of course, you can stay here. After I eat, I may need to exercise. I lack a sandbag. Are you willing to be my sandbag? Chapter 2195. After Right Coiling Tiger left, Lin Yi leisurely picked up his phone and dialed Sun Jingyi's number. As for Right Coiling Tiger's reaction after getting the alchemist's notes, although Lin Yi was confused, he wasn't too worried. Boss Bai wouldn't lie to him, and he also said that he would cooperate with him to act, which meant that the information wasn't the most important to Boss Bai. Lin Yi was already satisfied to be able to exchange the information for the things he had gotten so far. Although the materials for second-grade pills could be obtained through Boss Bai, if Lin Yi asked for it, Boss Bai would definitely get to the bottom of it, and then Lin Yi wouldn't be able to hide the fact that Han Jingjing was an alchemist. Lin Yi didn't want to lie to Boss Bai, but he also didn't want to expose Han Jingjing too early, so Lin Yi could only start with Right Coiling Tiger. At the very least, even if Right Coiling Tiger was confused, he knew that even if he asked, Lin Yi wouldn't tell him, so he might as well not ask, in case he asked for trouble. Sun Jingyi didn't expect Lin Yi to actually order a banquet in the private room downstairs, so she quickly dressed up and went downstairs. At this time, the waiter had basically served all the dishes, and Sun Jingyi could eat when she arrived. No way? Great thief, even if you're good to me, you don't have to order so many dishes. How can the two of us eat it all? Sun Jingyi looked at the dishes on the table, and was very happy. Someone's treating, it'll be a waste not to eat, Lin Yi said. Someone's treating again this time? Sun Jingyi was a little surprised. Where's the person? Scram, Lin Yi said. Huh? Sun Jingyi was dazed. Scram? What do you mean? It means scram, Lin Yi said. After paying the bill, it's none of his business. Gosh. Sun Jingyi was a little speechless. There's actually such a kind person? Yeah, this idiot always gives me good stuff. Lin Yi smiled and said. Let's not study him anymore, let's eat first. N. Sun Jingyi nodded, picked up the chopsticks, and put a small bite of food into her mouth. Recently, Sun Jingyi was less mature than the previous company owner, and more lazy and charming. Although she was at most 1 year older than Lin Yi, maybe because of her experience in society, she was more mature than Shu and the others. You said you'll accompany me to explore the map my parents left me, right? Of course. Lin Yi nodded without hesitation. His relationship with Sun Jingyi was very good. Putting aside the previous identity of half a lover, just the fact that Sun Jingyi gave the jade pendant left by her parents to Lin Yi as material was enough to move Lin Yi. It seems that you still have a little awareness of being a lover. You won't let me take the risk alone. Sun Jingyi listened to Lin Yi's affirmative answer and smiled happily. Awareness of what? I only have a title as a lover. There are no practical benefits at all. Lin Yi smiled and said, to put it bluntly, isn't it just free labor? That's not necessarily the case. Now, it's a trial period for you. When I'm happy, I might let you be my lover. Sun Jingyi said, I'm not engaged now. My family won't interfere with what I do. As she said this, Sun Jingyi blinked at Lin Yi. Are you seducing me? Lin Yi looked at the current Sun Jingyi. It was difficult to put her with the image of the female white-collar worker. The current Sun Jingyi was much cuter. I guess so. How about it? Do you accept the seduction? Asked Sun Jingyi. Accept it. Lin Yi nodded and said. After that, both of them laughed. The dialogue style of Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi could only be understood by the two parties involved. They also knew that it was just a joke. Right, I found the specific location of the Wulongheot mountain range. It is located outside the southern border. The environment there is very complicated. I heard that it is very dangerous. After Sun Jingyi joked, she said seriously, there were several expeditions on the internet that went to the Wulongheot mountain range to explore. Most of the people were wiped out. Only a few people survived. However, according to the survivors, it is very dangerous. Not only is there a natural moat, but there are also some monsters. Moreover, the local customs are very tough. In short, the survivors were scared and said that they would never go there to explore again in their lives. Oh? According to what you said, it seems to be full of danger? Lin Yi listened to Sun Jingyi's explanation and was a little surprised. If this is the case, why did your parents leave this map to you? I don't know. Maybe the more dangerous the place, the safer it is. If there are some things hidden there, it is not easy to be found? Sun Jingyi said. This is the only reason I can think of. After all, this is the truth. After those expeditions had an accident, no other expeditions went to that mountain range. Over time, it became a forbidden place for explorers. Perhaps that's the only explanation. Linny nodded after listening to it. How is it? Are you afraid? Asked Sun Jingyi. I'm not afraid. The key is you. Linny was a little speechless. Even if it was a moat with dangerous monsters, it was nothing compared to the tomb robbing and the ice palace trial. No matter how dangerous the moat was, could it be more terrifying than the secret passage in the ancient tomb? No matter how powerful the monster was, could it be more powerful than the purple electric beast? Didn't Linny solve all of these? I'm really a little scared. Sun Jingyi didn't hide it. If you didn't promise to accompany me, I can't imagine not making up my mind to explore it. After all, I'm not a practitioner like you. My things are a little special. If it's just the moat and monsters, then don't worry. It's not a problem. I can handle it, Linny said. That's good. I was thinking the same thing. You're in Earth class now, and those people in the expedition team are just normal people. There's no way we can compare them, Jingyi said. Hopefully, we'll be able to find our destination without a hitch. When do we leave? Linny asked. I can leave any time, Sun Jingyi said. I don't have anything to do with the company now. All I do every day is look up information in the hotel. There's nothing else to do. Now that I have the information, we can leave immediately. All right, I'll go back and make some arrangements, Linny said. You know, I need to make arrangements for Meng Yao and Yushu's safety. Chapter 2196. They wouldn't dare to do anything to him, but he wasn't afraid that they would send people after Meng Yao and Yushu. Han Xiaopa said that the sky-class masters of the hidden houses were restricted by the ancient rules, and couldn't enter the common world easily. So, Linny wasn't worried at all. With the purple thunderbolt beast protecting Meng Yao and Yushu, there shouldn't be any problems. Even if a sky-class master came, the purple thunderbolt beast would be able to deal with them. Sky-class masters wouldn't come. Those sky-class masters weren't idiots. Taking such a huge risk to enter the common world and not go after Linny, but Meng Yao and Yushu? Weren't they crazy? Even if they killed Meng Yao and Yushu, the hatred in their hearts wouldn't lessen. Right, Wu Qitian contacted me last night. He wanted to call you, but he couldn't get through, so he called me instead, Sun Jingyi said. He said he can come to Donghai any time, and asked if you need his help. Last night? Linny thought about it. It was probably because he was in the cinema last night, and the signal wasn't good, so Qitian couldn't get through. Coincidentally, Linny was looking for him, and there was a qi-gathering pill that Linny wanted to give to Qitian. Among the people around Linny, Qitian was the only one who had the time to protect Meng Yao and Yushu at all times. Plus, he had been a bodyguard before, so it was a walk in the park for him. Plus, using this qi-gathering pill on Qitian was the most worth it right now. Qitian was a practitioner of both spiritual and physical arts, and he was stronger than normal spiritual and physical practitioners. Giving him a boost was also the most beneficial thing. Yeah, what? You don't think he's still interested in me, do you? Sun Jingyi saw Lin Yi's expression and misunderstood. Of course not, Linny smiled. He's going to be in Earth class soon, so he probably won't be interested in you anymore. Linny, do you want to die? So you're saying that you have very low standards? Jingyi was pissed. I'm just kidding. I was wondering why I couldn't get through to you yesterday, Linny said. I went to the cinema yesterday. The signal there was bad. Cinema? A date? Jingyi asked. It's not really a date. Linny evidently didn't want to talk about this topic. I'll call Wu Qitian. Okay. Sun Jingyi was very smart. Since Linny didn't want to talk about it, she didn't ask anymore. Just as Sun Jingyi said, Qitian was ready and waiting for orders, ready to come as soon as Linny called. And so, Linny made an appointment with Qitian, telling him to come over right now and meet him at the villa in the Shueshang district. After settling the matter of leaving with Sun Jingyi, Linny took the cauldron and the ingredients for the second-level elixir back to school. And now, Linny was thinking whether or not to level up the purple thunderbolt beast. The situation was clear. The reason why the purple thunderbolt beast followed him was because he could bring it benefits. In other words, it was a deal. Its situation was different from General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig. General Weiwu was originally an animal that accompanied Miss through life and death. It was willing to sacrifice itself to save Mississippi. This relationship was enough to prove its loyalty. So, Lin Yi didn't hesitate to help it level up. Skybolt Pig, on the other hand, was Zhang Liju's spirit beast. Lin Yi inherited Zhang Liju's legacy, so Skybolt Pig had no choice but to follow Lin Yi. It could either stay in the tomb or follow Zhang Liju's disciple. But the purple thunderbolt beast was the spirit beast of the Qianshan sect. It turned to Lin Yi halfway through, so it was hard for Lin Yi to guarantee its loyalty. If it just left after leveling up, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to defeat it, and wouldn't be able to do anything to it. It seemed like he had to think about this carefully. When he went back at night, he had to communicate with the purple thunderbolt beast. When he returned to the classroom, Lin Yi saw Yu Panhu sitting in the classroom with a smile on his face. He was talking to Yellow and Purple. When he saw Lin Yi walk in, he smiled at Lin Yi for the first time. He had already asked Yu Shishir to send the copied information back to the hidden house Yu, and he kept an extra copy for himself. After this information was sent back, he probably wouldn't be able to see it anymore. The hidden house Yu's library wasn't something an elixir refiner of his level could casually read. So, Yu Panhu kept a copy for himself. This was also in preparation for him to enter the hidden house Yu's elder council smoothly in the future. Lin Yi looked at Yu Panhu's expression, and was even more confused. Could it be that the hidden house Yu really didn't have this information? Otherwise, why would Yu Panhu be so happy? But even if that was the case, Lin Yi didn't have any regrets. Yu Panhu's sacrifice in exchange for a copy of the information was worth it. Lin Yi returned to his seat. Han Jingjing was still writing and drawing on the tablet. When she saw Lin Yi, she said happily, "Lin Yi bro, I got a lot of inspiration from this information. Now I have more confidence in making second-level elixirs." "Really? That's great." Lin Yi was a little numb to Han Jingjing's genius. He handed all the materials that Yu Panhu gave him to Han Jingjing and said, "The materials are here. There are a total of 15 sets. Take a look. And then, that's great. This time, Jingjing can try to refine second-level elixirs." Han Jingjing took the materials from Lin Yi's hand and said, "Brother Lin Yi, you are so good to Jingjing. You always help Jingjing get what she wants. When you become an elixir refiner and help me refine elixirs, I will thank you then," said Lin Yi. Okay. When Jingjing learns it, I will refine elixirs for Brother Lin Yi alone." Han Jingjing nodded and said. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's innocent little face. Sometimes, he was really confused. Was this genius girl really sent by God? But when he couldn't solve the problem of alchemy, Han Jingjing appeared. From the perspective of traditional alchemy, Han Jingjing wasn't considered a genius. She had a single fire attribute physique. It could be said that she was trash among the elixir refiners. But when it came to Han Jingjing, this single fire attribute had become her advantage. Although she didn't have the wood attribute to sense the changes in the medicinal herbs in the cauldron, Han Jingjing could use a more scientific and accurate curve function to replace it. This was like the difference between a handicraft workshop and an assembly line. Chapter 2197. However, the craftsmanship of the workers on the assembly line might be much worse than that of the shoemaker. But as long as they knew how to control the assembly line machines and produce shoes according to the prescribed steps, the shoes produced would be exactly the same in terms of quality and specifications. This was the advantage brought by the assembly line. Han Jingjing's current method of alchemy was completely the same as the assembly line of a factory. The pills produced were the same in terms of quality and specifications. And because of the mass production, it was even more time-saving and resource-saving than a manual workshop. "Right, you coiling tiger, return the information to me," Han Jingjing said as she passed the information to Lin Yi. "And I'll find time to return it to Boss by later." Lin Yi nodded. Right, I'm planning to leave for a while in a few days. During this time, you should stay at home and practice alchemy. Go to school with Meng Yao and Yushu every day. And Linny Gidge, Jing will take care of myself. Han Jingjing didn't ask much about Lin Yi's whereabouts. Also, the fact that you know how to make pills, especially the fact that you can make multiple pills in one cauldron, don't ever mention it to anyone, not even Boss Bai. Linny reminded. Especially Yu Panhu, don't tell him. One must always be on guard. Although Linny trusted Boss Bai, who could guarantee that Han Jingjing wouldn't be eavesdropped when she spoke. If this matter was spread out, it wouldn't be a good thing for Han Jingjing no matter what. Jingjing won't say anything. Jingjing will listen to Linny Gidge. Han Jingjing agreed without thinking. Jingjing. Linny wanted to ask Han Jingjing if she liked alchemy since birth. Why was she so close to him? But this question circled around in Lin Yi's mind. He shook his head and decided not to ask. In any case, Han Jingjing shouldn't have any malicious intent towards him. Otherwise, she wouldn't have told him all her secrets. It should be known that with Han Jingjing's current state of alchemy, even the Heavenly Elixir sect would treat her like an honored guest. However, Han Jingjing didn't hide anything from him. Han Jingjing raised her head, her big, watery eyes looking at Lin Yi, confused. It's fine. Lin Yi shook his head and returned to his senses. Xin Yan hadn't returned from her lunch break yet. Bai Weituo and Zhao Xingji weren't there either, probably having lunch with Yimeiwe. As expected, Bai Weituo, Zhao Xingji, and Wang Xinyan walked into the classroom together. Wang Xinyan was usually a lone wolf, but she couldn't reject Bai Weituo's invitation today, probably because of what happened last night. Bai Weituo insisted on dragging me to lunch. I had no choice. I had no other choice, Xinyan said helplessly, shaking her head. They think you're my girlfriend, Lin Yi said. Oh, Xinyan replied and didn't say anything else. She sat back in her seat. Right, I'll be going out for a couple of days. I'll be gone for half a month at most. Lin Yi needed to tell Xinyan that he was going out. After all, the two of them had gotten closer, and Xinyan was very concerned when Lin Yi left last time. Going out again? Xinyan's heart tightened. She didn't want him to leave, but she didn't know what it was exactly. And I need to help a friend. We'll go somewhere together, Lin Yi said. Be careful. I'll take notes for you. Xinyan didn't want him to leave, but she didn't ask him to stay. She knew that Lin Yi wouldn't stay even if she did. Thanks. Lin Yi smiled. Xinyan nodded and started flipping through her book. Sometimes, Lin Yi felt that his relationship with Xinyan was special. Sometimes it felt like they were really close, but most of the time, it was the kind of friendship between gentlemen that was as thin as water. It was very calm, but very warm. It was as if the two of them were supposed to be like this, sitting together and studying every day. The afternoon passed quickly. Xinyan looked at Lin Yi and asked faintly, Today? Another night study session? Lin Yi understood what Xinyan meant. She wanted to create an environment for him. Not today. I'll be leaving tomorrow. I have something to do tonight, Lin Yi said. Oh. Xinyan didn't know why, but she was a little disappointed. Okay. Plus, there are a lot of people in the classroom. I can't carry you, Lin Yi teased. You're annoying. Xinyan pursed her lips and blushed. I'll be leaving first. Have a safe trip. Haha, okay, Lin Yi said. Xinyan hugged her book and ran out of the classroom. She didn't dare look back. Her heart was beating fast as she thought about what Lin Yi said. Was Lin Yi flirting with her? This bastard. She was already nice enough to let him go, and he still wanted more? But thinking that Lin Yi was leaving soon, Xinyan didn't want to argue with him. Her relationship with him gave her a headache. He had even accepted one of his cars yesterday. If his family knew about this, who knew what they would think? Big brother Lin Yi, do you like sister Xinyan? Han Jingjing put away her tablet and walked out of the classroom with Lin Yi. A little. Lin Yi didn't deny it. Oh, Then do you want to go after Sister Sinyan? Han Jingjing nodded. Lin Yi looked into Han Jingjing's eyes. He didn't see any impurities or dissatisfaction. It was still very clear. This made Lin Yi feel that Han Jingjing didn't have any bad feelings for Sinyan. Why are you asking? Lin Yi was curious. I'm afraid that you won't like me after you have Sister Sinyan. You won't have time to be with me anymore. Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi worriedly. Of course not. I still need you to make pills for me, Lin Yi said. Just concocting pills. Han Jingjing suddenly felt a little down. What if one day Lin Yi bro becomes even better than Jingjing at concocting pills? Do I still need Jingjing? Ugh. Lin Yi paused, so Han Jingjing had known all along that he didn't know how to concoct elixirs, and only told him the truth today. So this girl was just flattering him before. This made Lin Yi a little ashamed. Let's not talk about whether I know how to concoct elixirs or not. Even if I did, I'm not as smart as Jingjing to invent a scientific concoction method. Chapter 2198. Every recipe has a different refinement curve, how can I learn them all? Lin Yi smiled. Plus, even if you learn it all, we'll still need to study weaponsmithing, and you can keep studying scientific weaponsmithing. To me, Jingjing is a treasure, and I won't even give her to anyone else. Why are you worrying so much in that little head of yours? Could it be that you're jealous? Han Jingjing paused. What do you mean by jealous? Haha. Lin Yi didn't explain. He was sure that Han Jingjing knew, but he pretended that she didn't know. Perhaps Yushu was right. Han Jingjing was a smart person, after all. How could she not know some common sense? Then it's settled, Lin Yi bro. You have to treat Jingjing like a treasure from now on, don't throw her away, Han Jingjing said. Alright, it's a deal, Lin Yi said. Perhaps Lin Yi and Sinyan's conversation had triggered Han Jingjing. Her attitude was a little off today, but the two arrived at the parking lot, and Han Jingjing was back to her normal self. That cute, silly look on her face as she got into the car and started fiddling with her tablet without a word. When they got home, Lin Yi told Meng Yao and Yushu about going to Wulanhate with Sun Jingyi, as well as about Qitian coming to protect them. Actually, theoretically speaking, you guys shouldn't be in any danger during this time. I'm only letting Qitian come to watch out for some idiots, Lin Yi said. The hidden houses couldn't do anything rash at the moment. Shield bro, you're leaving again. Yushu was a little sad. Why don't you bring Shu and Yao Yao with you? Wulanhate is a little dangerous. I'm afraid I won't be able to take care of you guys, Lin Yi said honestly. Protecting Sun Jingyi alone is a little hard, I see. Shu sighed. I won't be able to see Shield bro for a while. In the future. At this point, Xiao Shu didn't continue. She couldn't understand what she was talking about. I'll be back soon. I'll bring you something good, Lin Yi said. That's enough, Shu. Lin Yi is going to take care of business. It's not like he won't come back. Meng Yao felt that Yushu was a little down today, as if they'd never see each other again after Lin Yi left. Didn't Lin Yi say that he'll be living with us from now on? Yeah. But... Yushu shook her head. It's nothing, it's time for the cartoon. Let's watch TV, Shu, what's wrong? Lin Yi also felt that something was wrong with Shu. Nothing. Shield bro. Yushu smiled. I just don't want you to get involved with Sun Jingyi. Look, you already have Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing as a backup. It'll be a mess if you get involved with Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi saw that Yushu wasn't willing to talk about it. He stood up. I'll go check on General Weiwu, the pig, and the purple thunderbolt beast. The purple thunderbolt beast, as the lowest level spirit beast here, naturally lived at the outermost area of the spirit beast shed. Fortunately, it had thick skin and thick flesh. It was almost December, and the temperature in Donghai was quite cold, but the purple thunderbolt beast wouldn't be a problem. Purple thunderbolt beast! Lin Yi called out to the spirit beast shed. The purple thunderbolt beast heard Lin Yi's call and ran out happily. These 2 days, it couldn't wait for Lin Yi to help it level up. The purple thunderbolt beast knew that it wouldn't be possible for Lin Yi to help it level up in just 2 days. Besides, it had heard about Lin Yi's situation from General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig. Lin Yi could indeed help spirit beasts level up, and as Lin Yi's level increased, Lin Yi could level up the spirit beast step by step. For example, when Lin Yi was a mystic class master, he could level up General Wei Wu, who was a normal dog, to the peak of the late phase of the golden class, and Skybolt Pig to the peak of the late phase of the golden class. After Lin Yi became an Earth class master, they naturally became Mystic class late phase peak as well. This situation made the purple thunderbolt beast surprised and overjoyed. If this continued, it wouldn't be a dream for it to become Mystic class, Earth class, or even Sky class. But for it to level up from the golden class to the Sky class by itself, that would be extremely difficult. Not to mention the Sky class. Even if it advanced a little from the peak of the late phase of the golden class to the peak of the late phase of the golden class, it wouldn't be possible. At first, the purple thunderbolt beast and Lin Yi came here with the purpose of taking advantage of the spirit beast, but now it had a completely different idea. When it heard Lin Yi's call, it naturally ran out happily. Roar, roar! The purple thunderbolt beast ran to Lin Yi's feet. It was hard to imagine that such a huge spirit beast would be fawning over Lin Yi like a pet. Purple Thunderbolt Beast, although I really want to level you up, I can't guarantee your loyalty to me. Lin Yi knew that the Purple Thunderbolt Beast could understand it, so he didn't beat around the bush and said directly, You, General Wei Wu, and Skybolt Pig are different. They have a good relationship with me, and we've experienced many things together, so I leveled them up. But you, we've only known each other for a short time. Roar? The purple thunderbolt beast looked at Lin Yi with a bitter face. How could it not know that Lin Yi didn't trust it? But in this situation, how could it prove its loyalty to Lin Yi? You should know that I have a lion with me before, but I didn't level it up because it didn't want to be under anyone. If I level it up, it might just leave, Lin Yi said. The purple lightning beast nodded. It knew that Lin Yi was telling the truth. It had heard about the lion, so it looked at Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu with a pitiful look, hoping that they could help it plead for mercy. You don't need to look at them. If you can prove your loyalty, it's not impossible for me to turn you into a spirit beast with the strength of the late phase of the mystic class. Lin Yi said, You will be like them very soon, but if you can't prove it, I can't believe you. Chapter 2199. The purple lightning beast's body trembled, and although Lin Yi didn't understand its expression, it was definitely hesitant and troubled, unable to make a decision. Woof woof woof. General Wei Wu barked twice as if it was trying to tell the purple electric beast something. The purple electric beast didn't say anything else and fell into silence. It laid down by Lin Yi's feet alone as if it was thinking about something. General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig didn't say anything else and waited quietly for the purple electric beast's answer. Although Lin Yi was confused, he could guess that Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu had already thought of a way to suppress the purple electric beast. However, the purple electric beast couldn't accept this method, so it was hesitating and making a decision. Roar! Finally, the purple lightning beast lifted its proud head and roared at the sky. Then, it turned around to look at Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu and nodded its head slowly. However, after nodding its head, it roared a few more times as if it was trying to add something to the beast's mind. General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig looked at each other, and Skybolt Pig chirped a few times as if he was explaining something to the purple lightning beast. After a while, the purple lightning beast nodded again, and Skybolt Pig ran in front of Lin Yi, using his claw to point at a patch of soft sand not far away. Lin Yi knew that Skybolt Pig was going to write to communicate with him, so he followed him to the patch of soft sand. Skybolt Pig quickly wrote on the soft sand. Since ancient times, there have been 3 ways for humans and spiritual beasts to get along. The first way is to share the same thoughts, share the joys and sorrows, and form a natural friendship, just like me and General Wei Wu. The second method is to establish a contract and have the spiritual beast become a human's slave. The human can order the spiritual beast to do anything, and after the spiritual beast has established the contract, It can't resist and can only follow orders. To put it bluntly, it is equivalent to a puppet with thoughts. The third way is to establish an equal contract. This is similar to the first way, mutual respect. The spiritual beast is the human's best friend and not just a slave. As long as the spiritual beast doesn't betray its master, it has its own consciousness. The Chien Mountain sect established a contract with this method, and it's the best way to establish a contract. The purple electric beast said that it can accept being your contracted spiritual beast, but it must be this type because it's too pitiful to become a slave. Oh, this will do. Linny nodded. Actually, you and General Weiwu are similar to these contracted spiritual beasts. It's just that we're in the same boat, and the purple lightning beast's time is too short. This is the only way to prove its loyalty. The purple lightning beast didn't expect Lin Yi to agree so easily. It was a little surprised. Originally, it thought that Lin Yi would definitely take the opportunity to blackmail it into becoming a slave-contracted spiritual beast, but it was very unwilling to do so. Although it wanted to level up, what was the point if it lost its sense of self after leveling up? It chose the last option because it had the thought of leaving if Lin Yi didn't agree. That was why it roared at the sky and made its decision. How would it know that Lin Yi was so easy to talk to? If it knew this would happen, it would have established a contract with Lin Yi a long time ago. This type of contract didn't affect it at all. When Lin Yi was around, it would follow Lin Yi. If Lin Yi died, it would regain its freedom and wouldn't be affected. It had lived for thousands of years and met many people, but it was the first time it met someone like Lin Yi. That was why it didn't lose anything by following Lin Yi. As long as Lin Yi continued to level up, its strength would also increase. Where else could it find such a good contracted master? So when it heard Lin Yi's agreement, the purple electric beast nodded happily. Roar, roar! It was even a little eager. How do I establish the contract? Lin Yi asked. Skybolt Pig wrote on the ground again. You don't have to do anything. The purple electric beast will make a heaven and earth oath, then drip a drop of blood on its forehead. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Although Lin Yi didn't know what a heaven and earth oath was, he didn't know if it had any binding force. However, looking at Skybolt Pig's expression, it was probably very effective. So, he bit his finger. At this moment, the purple electric beast was also muttering something that Lin Yi couldn't understand. It seemed like this type of contract was built on the basis of equality. Only when the spirit beast was willing could it be used. Otherwise, he couldn't possibly force the spirit beast to make a heaven and earth oath, right? As for that kind of slave contract, although Lin Yi didn't know how to operate it, it should be the forceful kind. He would have to ask Skybolt Pig when he had the chance. It was impossible for Lin Yi to use such a gentle method to deal with every spirit beast he encountered. After a while, the purple electric beast stopped roaring, but Skybolt Pig started squeaking, indicating that Lin Yi could drip his blood. So, Lin Yi quickly dripped the blood on his finger on the purple electric beast's forehead. What surprised Lin Yi was that the blood on his finger seemed to turn into a light beam and directly entered the purple electric beast's body. There was no trace of blood on its forehead. This situation made Lin Yi click his tongue in wonder. It seemed like there were many things in the world that he didn't know or understand. That's it. Lin Yi didn't feel that there was anything special about establishing a contract with the purple electric beast. Squeak, squeak. Skybolt Pig nodded, indicating that it was fine. All right, Foam, I'll raise your strength to the peak of the late phase mystic class later. You stay in the villa and protect Meng Yao and Yushu with General Weiwu, understand? When I'm not here, don't let any harm come to them, Lin Yi said. Also, you have to protect Han Jingjing and her brother next door. Roar, roar. The purple electric beast nodded, indicating that it understood. Since Skybolt Pig said that there was no problem, Lin Yi didn't doubt it. He directly sat cross-legged on the ground and placed his hand on the purple electric beast's body, activating the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. Pure energy flowed from the space in the jade through Lin Yi's body into the purple electric beast's body. Roar dash! The purple electric beast roared in pleasure, and then quickly absorbed the energy that Lin Yi transferred over. Chapter 2200. At this moment, the purple lightning beast was quite gratified. Following Linny was a wise choice. Linny didn't lie to it. It leveled up in just a short while. It had never heard of such a situation before. It had never heard of a person being able to continuously transfer chi to a spirit beast in such a short period of time. It was unbelievable. But the truth was right in front of its eyes. Golden class late phase peak. Soon, it was close to full cycle. The purple lightning beast let out a joyful roar. It leveled up. The barrier that had suppressed it for the past 1,000 years had actually been broken at this moment. Mystic class early phase, it was already a mystic class spirit beast. And this was just the beginning. Lin Yi didn't stop and continued to transfer chi to it. Mystic class early phase peak, mid phase peak, all the way to mystic class late phase peak. The purple lightning beast couldn't believe what was happening in front of it. It even felt like it was dreaming. Was there such a way to level up in this world? It had never heard of anyone being able to go from golden class late phase peak all the way to mystic class late phase in such a short period of time. No, it was already mystic class late phase peak. Lin Yi's energy transfer stopped abruptly. Lin Yi let go of his hand, but he didn't seem tired at all. He was still in high spirits, as if the chi transfer didn't affect Lin Yi at all. The purple lightning beast's eyes widened in shock as it stared at Lin Yi, who was perfectly fine. Is this real? I'm a mystic class late phase peak spirit beast now. From now on you're number 4. Little 3 is the lion, but it ran away. Lin Yi said to the purple lightning beast. Your boss is General Weiwu, and Skybolt Pig is your second Xixiang. You don't have to care about that lion for now. You're the youngest. Roar roar. The purple electric wind thunder beast nodded cheerfully. Although it was a spirit beast with an offensive attribute, and was the most powerful one compared to General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig, it knew that it was the last one to arrive, so it didn't object to being called Old Fourth. Here's a small chi-gathering pill. Eat it and you'll be able to level up to Earth class. Then you'll be able to deal with higher level enemies. Lin Yi took out a small chi-gathering pill from his pocket and gave it to the purple lightning beast. The purple lightning beast had never eaten a human's medicinal pill before, but since it was something Lin Yi gave it, it swallowed it in one gulp. However, the purple electric tempest beast that had swallowed the little chi-gathering pill did not show signs of a breakthrough like Han Jingjing. Instead, it behaved the same as usual. Lin Yi waited for a long time and didn't see any abnormalities. He couldn't help but ask, Do you feel anything special? The purple lightning beast was quite puzzled. Logically, Lin Yi wouldn't lie to it. He had already helped it level up a few times. It was already at mystic late phase peak, so it believed that Lin Yi could help it level up. But the reality was that after it ate the small chi-gathering pill, other than a weak energy replenishment, it didn't feel anything special. Roar roar! The purple lightning beast told Skybolt Pig about its situation. And Skybolt Pig wrote down the purple lightning beast's situation to Lin Yi. Strange, no breakthrough? Lin Yi frowned, but then he thought of an important situation. Could it be that spirit beasts were different from humans? Cultivators could use the small chi-gathering pill to break through, but spirit beasts couldn't. The small chi-gathering pill that contained a lot of energy wasn't very useful to the purple lightning beast. Was it because it needed more energy than cultivators, or was it because of their different physiques? The energy that Lin Yi sent to it came from the jade space. Lin Yi didn't calculate the exact amount. But now it seemed that the latter was more likely. Spirit beasts shouldn't be able to increase their strength through medicinal pills. Thinking about it, if spirit beasts could use medicinal pills, then the spirit beasts of the Qianshan sect would have a qualitative leap. They just needed to give some medicinal pills to the spirit beasts, and even with Jindao's spirit wolf would be able to level up to Earth class. Why would it still be at the golden class? And as the sect's guardian spirit beast, the purple lightning beast wouldn't be stuck at the peak of the golden class late phase. Lin Yi shook his head. It seemed that he was too simple-minded. Spirit beasts couldn't use human practitioners' medicinal pills. It was a waste of a small chi-gathering pill. Although Lin Yi got it for free, it still hurt him a lot. He could only give the remaining one to Wu Qingtian. If there was one more, he could give it to Ling Shan or Faubert. Seems like medicinal pills don't have much effect on you, Linny said. If you want to level up, wait until I break through to Sky Class. Roar roar. The purple lightning beast wasn't too disappointed. It was satisfied with its current strength. Waiting for Linny to become Sky Class wasn't an impossible dream. After dealing with the beast, Linny turned around and went back to the villa. Only then did he realize that the sun was already rising from the east. He didn't realize that he'd wasted an entire night here. It seemed like the beast had absorbed a lot of pure qi. When he returned to the living room, Linny saw Qingtian sitting on the sofa with his eyes closed. He heard footsteps and opened his eyes, surprised to see Linny. "Boss, you're back." Qingtian had arrived a long time ago, but Meng Yao told him that Linny was in the backyard doing research on spirit beasts, so he didn't disturb him. He just sat there and waited. "And you're fast." Linny threw the last small qi-gathering pill to Qingtian. "Take this, it'll increase your spiritual strength to Earth Class early phase. I'm going on a long trip with Jingy, so I'll need you to be her bodyguard for a while." "Bodyguard, no problem. I'm familiar with the job." Qingtian didn't mind. His attention was on the small qi-gathering pill. "Boss, is this the legendary small qi-gathering pill? House, you treated this like a treasure back then. And it's a treasure in the common house. It's rare in the hidden house, but it's not much of a treasure," Linny said. "Take it, I'll protect you." "Okay." Qingtian swallowed the pill without hesitation, closing his eyes and channeling his practitioner's arts to dissolve the pill's effects. Chapter 2201. Qingtian, on the other hand, looked like he was in pain, but if even Han Jingjing could endure it, Qingtian, a physical practitioner, naturally could. But from Lin Yi's point of view, Qingtian's pain was much worse than Han Jingjing's. It was similar to when Han Xiupa took the pill. Perhaps it was because they were both real practitioners, and Han Jingjing's practitioner's arts were just the support arts for the refiner, so it wasn't that hard to level up. Half an hour later, Qingtian let out a long breath, a relaxed expression on his face. He was very happy inside, and if he wasn't afraid of waking up Meng Yao and Yushu upstairs, he would have laughed out loud. "That's amazing!" Qingtian sighed. "Boss, to be honest, I've never thought that I'd become an Earth Class one day. Really, in the common world, a mystic is already a very powerful existence, but I'm actually in Earth Class now." "What, are you satisfied with Earth Class?" Linny smiled. "If it were before, of course I'd be satisfied, let alone Earth Class. Even Mystic Class would be enough," Qingtian said. "But now, after following you, boss, I know that there's always someone better than me, and my goal has become bigger and bigger. My ultimate goal is Sky Class. I want to become a Sky Class." "Not bad, you're a little ambitious now," Linny said. "Don't worry, breaking through to Sky Class won't be a dream. If Han Jingjing became a third-level refiner, she would be able to make qi-gathering pills, and if he could become a Sky Class, he would be able to raise Qingtian to Earth Class late phase peak, and with a qi-gathering pill, he would be able to step into Sky Class as well. So, Qingtian becoming a Sky Class wasn't a dream at all. "Boss, I heard from Jingy that you're going to a very dangerous place?" Qingtian asked. "Yes, Wulonghe mountain range, I heard it's dangerous." Linny didn't hide anything. "But it's about Jingy's identity. I've already promised her, so I'll go with her." "Man, that's the difference between us, boss. I'm not afraid of death, but if it were me, I'd tell Sun Jingy not to take the risk, but you're different, boss." "No wonder Jingy chose you," Qingtian said. "Are you praising me or saying that I'm reckless?" Linny laughed. "Of course it's a compliment. Wealth comes from danger. Dangerous places also mean opportunities. This is an unchanging truth. However, I lack this adventurous spirit," Qingtian said. "So I'll just stay here as a follower, boss leading me forward is enough. I also have a few bottles of body-strengthening potions from the Hidden House Pie. They train their fists, and you train your iron fist, so there should be some similarities. These potions should be good for your physical training, Lenny said. Ah? It can't be? There's a potion from the hidden house pie? Qintian's eyes widened as he looked at Lenny in disbelief. It wasn't that he hadn't heard of this potion before, but he'd heard of it so many times that his ears were getting calluses. The potions from the hidden house pie were famous, and it was said that they had something to do with the ancient sect Holy Fist Palace. Elder Wu Gongao, had tried to get a bottle of this potion from the hidden house pie for Qintian to train his iron fist arts, but the hidden house pie didn't care at all. They wouldn't sell it no matter how much they offered, and Gongao had no choice. Don't be fooled by the fact that they were a normal family in the common world. But when it came to the level of the hidden families, they were nothing. So Gongao had told his disciples many times that if they knew of the existence of the potion, they had to get it back no matter what the price was. It would be a huge improvement to House Wu's iron fist arts. Not only would their training speed increase, but their strength and the strength of their palms would increase as well. It had been a long time since anyone mentioned it, and Qintian had almost forgotten about the existence of this potion. But now that Linny mentioned it, he suddenly remembered. Yes, and it's not just one, there's quite a few, Linny said. I'll give it to you later. There's quite a few? Qintian was even more shocked. Boss, House Pie usually doesn't sell this potion. It's hard to get even one bottle, and you have quite a few? What's so strange about that? We even got the small chi-gathering pill from the hidden house. We don't need the potions from the hidden house pie, Linny said. Is this useful to you? Not just useful, it's very useful. Qintian nodded and said solemnly. With this elixir, my physical training speed will increase more than twofold, and my strength and iron palms will increase as well. Oh, use it then, I'll give you more if it's not enough, Linny said. What? Qintian's jaw dropped when he heard Lin Yi's words. It was already a great fortune for him to be able to get these few bottles. How could he ask for more if it wasn't enough? The hidden house pie had quite a lot of these potions, but they wouldn't just give them away for free, would they? Oh, I forgot to tell you, Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai from the hidden house pie are my followers, but they're currently under observation. Once they pass, they'll be your followers too, Linny said. Pfft. Cough, cough. Qintian almost choked after hearing Lin Yi's words. What? Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai are my followers. They're their boss, so naturally they'll be ranked lower than you. Just like you, Erguden, Kong, and Fatty Lai, you're their follower, Linny said. My God, the two heirs of the hidden house pie. They're my underlings? Qintian never thought that he'd be this strong one day. Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai were Lin Yi's followers. Then it was only right for him to call Qintian bro, and they were still under observation. Whether or not they'd be recognized by Lin Yi would depend on their performance. This was something Qintian didn't even dare to think about before. If it were before, he'd be very respectful when he saw Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai, but now he had to be polite. It was simple, he was now Lin Yi's official follower, and in front of Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai, he was a senior. He couldn't embarrass Lin Yi. Chapter 2202. Qintian decided that he would give his grandpa a call when he had the time. He asked, Right, can you give my grandpa a bottle of this elixir? Although he's a bit of a snob, he's still very nice to me. Sure, you can decide what I give you, Linny said. Thank you, boss. Qintian breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Linny didn't hold a grudge against his grandpa. Actually, I don't blame your grandpa. It's not wrong for him to protect himself. He's just a small common house. It's normal that he can't fight against the hidden house. Linny waved his hand. Don't worry about it too much. You're my follower, I'll take care of your family. Boss, you're the best. Qintian was so touched he didn't know what to say. Right, I'll give you Pai Jishan's phone number. If you run into any trouble you can't solve, you can call him for help, Linny said as he sent Pai Jishan's number to Qintian. Okay. Qintian nodded. Rest for a bit, I've arranged everything here. I'll leave tomorrow morning, Lenny said as he stood up. He needed to pack his things. In the morning, Lenny called by Wei-tuo and asked him to ask Boss Bai for leave. Qintian became the Miss Temporary driver and bodyguard again, but his car was Han Jingjing's BMW X5M. After sending off the Miss Shu, Han Jingjing, and Han Xiao Chao, Lenny drove the Jeep to the hotel with Skybolt Pig. The reason why he brought Skybolt Pig was because it was very smart and had the ability to find treasures. It was also very sensitive to maps. It was the best choice when going out. There was no point in keeping it at home, but the Purple Thunderbolt Beast and General Weiwu could protect the Miss and Shu. Lenny always brought a spiritual beast with him just in case his meridians were damaged beyond repair, just like the time at the Ice Palace. Lenny called Sun Jingyi downstairs, and not long after, Sun Jingyi walked out of the hotel with a backpack. Only this much luggage? Lenny was surprised to see Sun Jingyi pack so lightly. Lenny had already opened the trunk for her, only to realize that she didn't even need to put her backpack in the trunk. Then how much? Sun Jingyi smiled. It's not like we're going on a vacation. Why bring so many things? There's only a few undergarments and daily necessities. I didn't bring anything else. Lenny nodded. He had fewer things than Sun Jingyi. This was what an adventurer should do. He and Sun Jingyi were going to Wulonghao Mountains to explore, not to play. The more things they brought, the more burdensome it would be. Have you had breakfast? If you have, we'll leave now, Lenny said. Yes, let's go. Sun Jingyi couldn't wait anymore. The map her parents left behind must have some important secrets. She wanted to see it as soon as possible. Lenny started the car and drove towards Wulonghao Mountains according to the directions on the GPS. This time, Lin Yi's goal was clear, and Lin Yi's driving skills were outstanding. He maintained a speed of more than 200 miles per hour, making Sun Jingyi feel like she was on a plane. Why are you driving so fast? Sun Jingyi found that Lin Yi had his eyes closed when he was driving, which made her surprised and horrified. She said, You don't look at the road? I'm looking. Lin Yi was actually cultivating, but he was cultivating in the space of the jade pendant. His perception of the outside world was stronger than Lin Yi's observation of the road information with the naked eye. Lin Yi looked with the naked eye. Even if he was a cultivator, he could only see a few hundred meters away. However, in the space of the jade pendant, the perception of the spiritual awareness could perceive further, and it was clearer and more detailed. Then why are you closing your eyes? Sun Jingyi found that Lin Yi had overtaken 3 or 4 cars with his eyes closed, and she was even more surprised. I'm cultivating, Lin Yi said. Well, if you're tired, you can sleep for a while. Okay. I hope you don't crash, Great Bandit. Sun Jingyi was speechless about Lin Yi's driving skills. Isn't this too superb? Great Bandit? If I don't have any ability, how can I make you fall in love with me? Lin Yi smiled. After listening to Lin Yi's words, Sun Jingyi really closed her eyes and fell asleep soon. Because Lin Yi's speed was too stable, although he didn't use the constant speed cruise, the speed was smoother than the constant speed cruise, which made Sun Jingyi feel drowsy. Moreover, watching Lin Yi driving was too thrilling. If you didn't look, you wouldn't feel anything. It looked really dangerous. When Sun Jingyi woke up, she found that the sky was already dark. She didn't expect that she could sleep so well. She actually slept for a whole day. However, she had crammed the knowledge of the Wulonghao mountain range in the hotel last night. She almost didn't sleep all night, so it wasn't a big surprise that she slept for a whole day. Where are we? Sun Jingyi opened her eyes and asked as she looked at the darkness outside the window. I don't know, Lin Yi said. But there are still more than 2,000 kilometers to go. Lin Yi took the shortest route. There were national highways and highways. Some of them were still passing through small mountain villages. But now, Lin Yi only had more than 2,000 kilometers left to reach the vicinity of the Wulonghao mountain range. So fast? Sun Jingyi was a little surprised. Originally, in her opinion, if the two of them drove, it would take at least 3 or 4 days. but she didn't expect Lin Yi's speed to be so fast. Moreover, he was traveling day and night. "It's okay," Lin Yi said. "When we passed a few villages on the way, the road was not good, so we slowed down. Otherwise, we should be faster. Are you sleepy? Do you want me to drive for a while?" Sun Jingyi had rested well, and now she was in high spirits. "I'm not sleepy. In fact, I have been resting and replenishing my physical strength through cultivation," said Lin Yi. "Gosh, are you serious? You are driving in the dark with your eyes closed?" Sun Jingyi was shocked. Hee hee. Lin Yi closed his eyes. The night was like day. It was clearer than when he opened his eyes. "Are you hungry?" "I'm fine. What about you?" "I have biscuits, milk, and chocolate in my backpack. They are all high-calorie foods. Do you want to eat some?" asked Sun Jingyi. Chapter 2203. "Then I won't stand on ceremony. I'm really a little hungry." Sun Jingyi turned around and took her backpack. She took out a carton of milk and a box of biscuits and wolfed them down. In front of Lin Yi, she didn't pretend to be gentle. They were already very familiar. Sun Jingyi didn't need to pretend in front of Lin Yi. After eating a few mouthfuls, Sun Jingyi asked Lin Yi, "You really don't want to eat?" "I really don't want to eat," Lin Yi said. "I can replenish my physical strength during cultivation." "Okay, then I'll eat it myself." Sun Jingyi nodded and said. Half an hour later, Lin Yi drove out of the national highway and came to a small town. He passed by a gas station. Lin Yi filled up the gas tank and filled the auxiliary tank in the trunk. Then, he drove to the door of a 24-hour porridge shop and said, "Do you want to go in and sit down?" "Okay." Sun Jingyi ate a few biscuits, but it didn't help much. She slept for a day and was hungry for a day. She wasn't like Lin Yi, who didn't eat or drink and could only replenish his physical strength through cultivation. The two of them came to the porridge shop together. In the porridge shop, there were a few tables of customers, but there weren't many people. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi ordered 2 trays of soup dumplings, a bucket of century egg and lean meat porridge, and a few side dishes. The cost here wasn't high. They spent less than 100 yuan in total, but the two of them ate well. After eating, Lin Yi continued to drive. There was a glimmer of dawn on the horizon. It was the next day. "There are about 1,000 kilometers left." Lin Yi looked at the prompt on the car's navigation and said to Sun Jingyi, "The people here are getting fewer and fewer." Sun Jingyi looked out the window and sighed. "Why would my parents leave a map of this place? Who knows? We'll only know when we get there," Lin Yi said. When it was almost noon, Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi arrived at the last town on the border. After leaving this town, they would be in another country, and most of the Wulonghe mountain range was outside the border. At the border, there should be border guards responsible for patrolling and guarding, so Lin Yi didn't drive to the border rashly. Instead, he parked the car in front of a hotel that integrated restaurants and accommodation in this town. He was going to eat something here first and inquire about the situation here while eating. The words, "Dragon Gate Inn," were written in a flamboyant style. The style of the entire inn was similar to the inn that Lin Yi stayed in an icy snow town. It had the same decoration style, the same quaint style, and the same naming method. However, there were obviously not many cars at the entrance of the inn. Other than Lin Yi driving a Grand Cherokee, the rest were 2 ordinary vans. One had a local license plate, and the other had no license plate at all. It seemed to be an abandoned car that had not been driven for a long time. In short, the feeling that this place gave people was quiet and quaint. However, after Lin Yi parked the car, he didn't attract much attention. It seemed that visitors like Lin Yi were common to them. When Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi got off the car, a person dressed like a local followed them and asked, "Are you 2 adventurers from the Tagan family who are going to Realita town?" "Oh? How do you know?" Lin Yi asked faintly, his expression unchanged. Realita town was the last town in the Wulonghe mountain range. However, this town wasn't in the country, but outside the border. According to the information that Sun Jingyi found, Realita Town was actually a town without a government. The actual controller of Realita Town wasn't one person, but a few big families in the town. This Tagan family was one of the actual controllers of Realita Town. The public security of this town was very chaotic, or rather, there was no public security at all. It was a paradise for criminals and adventurers. Many international fugitives would flee to this town to escape the punishment of the law. In fact, the land where this town was located should belong to another small country nearby. However, this place was originally the foothold of a very large sect. The sect's power was so great that the small country didn't have the intention to reclaim this mountain range. Later, this sect declined and disappeared overnight. However, some fierce bandits took the opportunity to occupy this place. Over time, many forces of various sizes were formed. There were families and gangs, so many adventurers and criminals sought refuge there. Of course, there wasn't much information on how chaotic Realita Town was on the internet. After all, it was a town outside the border. It didn't have much to do with the majority of the people in the country, so there was only some scattered information. This was also the reason why Linny parked the car near Realita Town. It was the last town within the border to inquire about the information. Although this town and Realita Town were separated by the border, they were still quite far away. Therefore, the people here would definitely be more familiar with the situation there. Hey, this is a small town at the border, not some tourist attraction. The people who come here are either criminals seeking refuge in Realita Town or adventurers who want to get a high bounty. The local analyzed proudly. The two of you drove here in such an ostentatious manner. Your car also has an official license plate, so I can guess that you aren't criminals. Then, you should be adventurers. Hee hee. Linny didn't deny it. The local didn't seem to want to give up on talking to Linny. He continued, I'm a local expert. I know everything about this place. Are the two of you cultivators? Lin Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't expect this person to know that he was a cultivator. This surprised Lin Yi. Although there were many cultivators in Lin Yi's circle, for ordinary people, many of them were existences that they would never come into contact with in their lifetime. He didn't expect this local expert to know about the existence of cultivators. How did you know? Linny asked. 9 out of 10 of the adventurers who go to Realita Town are cultivators. If they aren't cultivators, it's hard for those families and gangs to entrust them with important tasks. They can only be small fries, the local expert said. But if it's a cultivator, even if he's in the early phase of the golden class, he'll be treated with great respect as a VIP. He'll be entrusted with important tasks like hunting spirit beasts or gathering herbs in the Wulonghout Mountains. Oh. Then can't we be ordinary people? Lin Yi didn't answer the local expert's question directly. Chapter 2204. Oh? What happened these days? Lin Yi asked without batting an eyelid. These days, the Tagan family publicly recruited adventurers to enter the Wulonghout mountain range to capture a fire lion cub as the contracted spiritual beast of the heir of the Tagan family, young Master Taganlong. Tu Tong Tong said. I think the two of you must be going for this. Actually, you don't have to hide it. To be honest, there were also 2 practitioners who successfully left the border under my escort and went to Realita Town. They are also going for the Tagan family's reward. Is that so? It seems like you are indeed called Tu Tong Tong, Lin Yi said indifferently. You know about these things. Of course, Tu Tong Tong said. May I know what the strength of the 2 practitioners are? I'm in the middle phase of the golden class. My wife hasn't stepped into the golden class yet. Lin Yi didn't reveal his strength. After all, he was unfamiliar with this place, and it was necessary to be vigilant. Middle phase of the golden class? Tu Tong Tong was a little surprised after hearing it. Damn, so powerful? Just how old are you? You actually have the same level of cultivation as young Master Taganlong. The previous practitioner was in his 40s and was only in the early phase of the golden class. Tu Tong Tong automatically filtered out Sun Jingyi's strength. From his point of view, Lin Yi's strength alone was enough to meet the requirements of the Tagan family. The lowest requirement of the Tagan family this time was to be in the early phase of the golden class. After all, no matter how powerful a fire lion cub was, it couldn't escape under the siege of so many people. Early phase of the golden class was enough. Is there a problem? Linny asked. No. After Tu Tong Tong heard about Lin Yi's strength, he naturally had some respect for Lin Yi. The way he looked at Lin Yi was also different. Big brother, I know you are very powerful and a practitioner, but your wife hasn't stepped into the golden class yet. If you want to cross the border, I'm afraid it's impossible without my arrangements. I'm not called Tu Tong Tong for nothing. Okay, you can send us out of the country, Linny said. How much do you want? No, not much. 10,000 yuan per person is enough. If it's 2 people, I can give you a discount. The local expert didn't dare to ask too high a price. He also knew that these cultivators weren't easy to deal with. Although these people might be rich, it was absolutely impossible to cheat them. Linny waved his hand and said calmly, There's no need for a discount. 20,000 it is. Use the remaining money to introduce me to Realita Town and the Wulonghao mountain range for the mission. Of course, no problem. After all, even if Lin Yi received the news and came to help the Tagan clan, he would certainly not be very familiar with Realita Town and the Wulonghao mountain range. It was normal for him to introduce them. We're going to the inn to eat something. You should join us, Lin Yi said. Okay. The local expert quickly agreed. Originally, the Dragon Gate Inn's private room wasn't easily opened. After all, there were only 3 of Lin Yi and the others. It was enough to sit in the hall and eat. However, with the local expert around, the boss gave face and opened a private room for them. It seemed that the local expert was indeed a local expert. It was very useful in the local area. It's convenient to talk here. The local expert smiled. I often bring people here to eat, so I'm familiar with the boss. And tell me about the situation. Linny wasn't very concerned about the power of the local expert. After all, he only needed to smoothly cross the border with the help of the local expert. As for other things, Linny naturally wasn't interested in caring. In Realita Town, there are 3 big families and 2 big gangs. One of the families is the Tagan clan. The other 2 families are the Lu clan and the Shangguan clan. In these 3 families, there are different numbers of cultivators. They are families that focus on cultivation, said the local expert. Cultivator clans? Linny was a little surprised. He didn't expect that there were cultivator clans outside the border. However, after thinking about it, it wasn't impossible. Usually, these cultivator clans were hidden. For example, they hid in a small place like Realita Town. Under normal circumstances, if one didn't come here intentionally, it would be really difficult to come into contact with them. We also have cultivator clans here. Are you all individual cultivators? Yes, only individual cultivators would participate in the Tagan clan's mission. Those sects and families wouldn't have the time to come to this place. Local Tong shook his head and said, There are also 2 big gangs. One is the Fire Wolf Gang, and the other is the Red Conch Gang. These 2 gangs control the sex industry and entertainment industry in Realita Town, and the other controls the drug trade. Fire Wolf Gang and Red Conches? Linny was stunned. He didn't expect that there was a Fire Wolf Gang outside the border. However, what surprised Linny was that these 2 gangs should actually be one gang. According to the conversation with the drug dealer during the military training, Linny could determine that the Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches were inextricably linked. Yes, we also have the Fire Wolf Gang here. They developed from here. That Red Conches is originally a drug trade group outside the border, said the local expert. These 2 gangs have a good relationship? Asked Linny. How is that possible? The local expert said. As the saying goes, a mountain can't accommodate 2 tigers. This is the principle. There isn't much conflict of interest between these 2 gangs, so there isn't much conflict. However, there are constant small frictions. The Fire Wolf Gang has a good relationship with the Lu clan, while the Red Conches have a good relationship with the Tagan clan. These two families usually don't get along. Oh? Lin Yi was very surprised, but he didn't show it on his face. He didn't expect that the Fire Wolf gang and the Red Conches would appear to be enemies in front of outsiders. These two gangs were really smart. If the two gangs relied on each other, it might be difficult for them to gain a foothold in Realita town. However, the two gangs had a relationship in private. On the surface, it seemed that each gang was on good terms with the family. No one could see anything wrong with it. However, this doesn't have much to do with your mission. I think the two of you won't bother with these trivial matters. From the local expert's point of view, these cultivators came with a purpose. As for the trivial matters, they wouldn't bother with them. Right, we only heard from a friend that the Tagan clan has a mission with generous rewards. However, I don't know the specifics. Can you tell us? Asked Lin Yi. Chapter 2205. It's used when breaking through from yellow class to mystic class, Lin Yi said. That's right. That's exactly it. Tu Tong nodded. That's why this mission makes many yellow class loose practitioners scramble for it. If they can get the spirit gathering pill, it's the same as a guarantee to reach mystic class. This kind of temptation, there's an alchemist in the Tagan family? Lin Yi asked. Although the spirit gathering pill was a first-level yellow class pill, it was a very high-quality one. It was much harder to concoct than the spirit gathering pill. Only a second-level yellow class alchemist could successfully concoct it. If it was just a first-level yellow class alchemist, there was almost no chance of success. Of course. Tu Tong nodded. The alchemist of the Tagan family is not only a yellow class second-level alchemist, but also has the constitution of a blacksmith. It's said that he's studying the knowledge of blacksmithing. Blacksmith? Is this for real? Isn't the art of blacksmithing lost in this world? Lin Yi widened his eyes in surprise. Towards Lin Yi's surprise, Tu Tong seemed to be used to it. He chuckled and said, Of course, but the Tagan family's alchemist has the constitution of a blacksmith. If he doesn't learn blacksmithing, then it would be a bit of a waste. So, he's researching it. Although it can't be said to be forging divine weapons, he can still forge some small things. For example, first and second level cauldrons. This is something only a third level alchemist can do, but with his second level alchemist's strength and special constitution, he can also forge it. So, this person is very powerful. Although Lin Yi didn't know if Tu Tong's words were true or false, but this small town of Royaleda was indeed a place of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Of course. Tu Tong nodded. It's also because of this that the Tagan family is the strongest of the three big families in Royaleda. Because they have an alchemist, many practitioners go to them. Although I don't know their specific strength, I'm afraid they have at least an Earth-class master. An Earth-rank expert. Lin Yi had underestimated Royaleda town. That's right. Furthermore, because of their cooperation with the Red Conch, the Tagan family's banknotes are also very thick. Their alchemist has specially invented a method to purify and refine drugs for the Red Conch, which can increase the purity and production. In this way, the Red Conch will naturally not be short of dividends from the Tagan family every year, said the local expert. An alchemist purifying drugs. Lin Yi frowned. Many alchemists disdain to do such a thing, but he didn't expect that the alchemist of the Tagan family would do such a thing. It seemed that the families and cultivators here didn't follow the rules. What's so strange about that? There are cultivators from the Lu family who are helping the Fire Wolf gang to watch over the place. Local Tong laughed. But since the Tagan family has experts, why do they need to recruit adventurers to help? Lin Yi asked curiously. This problem is actually very simple. This kind of work of capturing spirit beasts is very dangerous. Who would be willing to let the backbone of the family take the risk? If the cultivators of the Tagan family were to be injured, would the other two families hit them when they are down? Would the Fire Wolf gang sit by and do nothing? Local Tong said. So, the simplest way is to take out the reward and ask for help. If it succeeds, each participant will get one spirit amassing pill. If it doesn't succeed, each participant will get 5 spirit-amassing pills. Of course, there are no deserters. This kind of reward is enough to make many cultivators risk their lives. That's true. Linny nodded. Local Tong then explained to Linny and Sun Jingy the situation of Rilida town and the way to find the Tagan family and so on. Lin Yi's money wasn't spent in vain. After Lin Yi and Sun Jingy finished their meal, they prepared to leave the country under the arrangement of local Tong. There was quite a bit of information from the local informants, but they were all superficial things. He didn't know much about the deeper things, so he only had a general idea of what was going on. If Lin Yi was alone, it wouldn't be difficult to leave the country. But with Sun Jingy, local Tong escorting them was the best choice. Sure enough, local Tong was very familiar with the terrain of the border. He brought Lin Yi to a bottomless river and quickly drove a speedboat nearby to avoid the patrols. This speedboat belonged to local Tong. After talking with local Tong for a while, he let Lin Yi and Sun Jingy board the speedboat. When you come back, you will still be at this place. You can call me. You can also receive a cell phone signal there. It's this number. Call me in advance, and I will arrange a time to pick you up. The travel fee is still 15,000. Local Tong said to Lin Yi. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. However, after he was familiar with the road, this level of river wasn't difficult for Lin Yi. Although Lin Yi couldn't practice the magic of floating on water, if he threw a wooden board on the water, Lin Yi could jump over the river with Sun Jingy's help. The person who controlled the speedboat didn't say much. He directly sent Lin Yi and Sun Jingy over and quickly left. At this moment, Lin Yi and Sun Jingy were already standing on the territory of Rilida town. As for the skybolt pig, it was put in a bag by Lin Yi. No one suspected anything. They thought it was Lin Yi's luggage. After passing through the jungle, it was a town that was somewhat similar to the previous town. However, all the buildings retained the style of classical art. It was antique and very simple. It was night time, but the nightlife here was very rich. These kinds of restaurants and brothels were open, and the street was also very lively. It was a far cry from Lin Yi's impression of a town without security. In fact, although there was no political management here, because it was the territory of the 3 major families and gangs, the town's security was jointly managed by these 5 forces. Therefore, the security here was not as bad as imagined. In the town, in addition to these 5 forces, there were also several small families and forces of various sizes. There were also many tourists from this country. This was a haven for criminals to seek refuge, a haven for adventurers to obtain high bounties, and a haven for tourists at the same time. Eating, drinking, gambling, and smoking were all available in this town. Therefore, when the 2 outsiders, Lin Yi and Sun Jingy, arrived here, they didn't attract much attention. They were only solicited by some nightclubs, casinos, and restaurants on the road. Chapter 2206. For example, helping to avenge a feud, or helping to collect a debt that wasn't paid, etc. In short, it was a platform to entrust missions. Behind the Adventurers Guild was the Tagan family. The Tagan family relied on the commission of the Adventurers Guild to obtain a considerable amount of income in a year. Are you 2 here to take on a mission? Lin Yi and Sun Jingy had just appeared at the entrance of the Adventurers Guild when a short worker scuttled over and asked. Lin Yi glanced at him. This worker actually had the inner strength of the early phase of the golden class. It seemed that the Tagan family's strength wasn't quite right. I heard that the Tagan family is recruiting people to enter the Wulonghao mountain range to capture a fire lion cub? Lin Yi asked indifferently. The Wulonghao mountain range was divided into the lower, middle, and upper mountain ranges. Most of the people were active in the lower mountain range. The spirit beasts here were relatively low, the highest was only the golden class. Even so, it was already very dangerous. The middle and upper mountain ranges were even more dangerous. It was said that the spirit beasts there were not only golden class, but also mystic class and even higher. The adventurers who went there basically didn't come back. That was why only the lower mountain range of the Wulonghao mountain range was explored by these people. Very few people went to the upper mountain range. However, if Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi directly entered the Wulonghao mountain range, they would definitely be noticed by the local forces. Plus, Lin Yi wasn't familiar with the terrain of the mountain range. If he could follow an adventurer team to do a mission up the mountain, it would be much easier and safer. When they reached the top of the mountain range, they would act according to the situation. Since the big families here were powerful, Lin Yi didn't want to have any unpleasantness or conflict with them. You two are? The short man paused slightly after hearing Lin Yi's words and then asked. There were people who came here to sign up for the fire lion hunt, but definitely not many. Only those very poor wandering practitioners would rush to risk their lives for a spirit-gathering pill. That was why when Lin Yi mentioned this mission, the short man paused. Lin Yi smiled faintly and operated his Nigong, revealing the suppressed strength of the middle phase of the golden class. Middle phase of the golden class? Not bad! With the addition of a golden class mid-phase, the success rate of this mission should be even higher. The little man was a man of his word, too, and became more respectful when he saw that Lin Yi was stronger than him. Please enter, you two. Once you've registered, you can rest in the rooms provided by the Adventurers Guild. We'll serve you food and wine, and we'll depart in 3 days. I'll tell you the rules of the mission after you've settled in. Okay, lead the way, Lin Yi said. The short man did not mind Lin Yi's indifference at all. Cultivators all had strange temperaments, especially this kind of loose cultivator. He only cared about Lin Yi's strength, not Lin Yi's attitude. During the registration, Lin Yi wrote Zhang Naipeil, and Sun Jingyi, on the other hand, wrote Wife Shang instead. If these people discovered his true intentions, he wouldn't mind causing some trouble for Naipeil if he were to fall out with them. One could see that the Adventurers Association treated the participants very well. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi were arranged to stay in a double room. It was very simple but elegant, and the environment was very clean. My name is La Zi, a waiter from the Adventurers Association. Since you have accepted this mission, I will explain the rules to you, La Zi introduced after settling Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi nodded and signaled for La Zi to continue. As of now, there are 4 golden class participants in this mission, including Mr. Zhang Naipeil. La Zi automatically ignored Sun Jingyi. As far as he was concerned, Sun Jingyi was only here to train with Lin Yi, and wasn't part of the main force of the mission. 4. It's said that the Fire Lion is still a cub, and hasn't even stepped into Golden Class yet. 4 Golden Class Masters should be enough, right? Lin Yi asked. That being said, the Fire Lion's speed is very fast, and its strength is extraordinary as well. It's said that it can even go up against an early phase of the Golden Class. That's why our mission requires us to be above the Golden Class, La Zi said. When you do the mission, you must first have the ability to protect yourselves. When the time comes, each of you will take a position and block off the possible escape routes of the Fire Lion Cub. Do your best to attack it, stall it, and exhaust its stamina. And our Tagan family's young master, Tagan Long, will help him establish a forced contract with the Fire Lion Cub with the help of the guards. Once the contract is established, your mission will be complete. Forced contract? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the slave contract that Skybolt Pig mentioned? Establishing a contract like this was unfair to the spirit beasts, especially to a young one. It wasn't a vicious spirit beast either, and Lin Yi wasn't too happy with the way things were going. Yes, you don't have to worry about the specifics. All you need to do is surround and attack the Fire Lion Cub, La Zi explained, thinking that Lin Yi didn't know what a forced contract was. Oh, so we can't kill the Fire Lion Cub? Lin Yi asked. The Fire Lion Cub may be a cub, but it has thick skin and flesh. Without the strength of an Earth class, don't even think about killing it. La Zi smiled faintly and said, Moreover, this Fire Lion Cub is very smart. If you surround and attack it, it can escape and won't tangle with you. That's why we recruited Yellow class warriors to block its escape route from different positions. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded on the surface, but he was suspicious in his heart. This matter wasn't that simple. If an Earth-class warrior could capture the Fire Lion cub, then it was impossible for the Tagan family to not send out 4 Earth-class warriors. If the Tagan family sent out 4 Earth-class warriors, then wouldn't they be able to capture the Fire Lion cub safely? If that was the case, why would they need to muster such a large force to invite external help for this mission? Lin Yi didn't ask about this. If he did, it would definitely make La Zi suspicious and guard against Lin Yi. That wouldn't be in Lin Yi's interest. Chapter 2207. Understood. Lin Yi nodded and said, Okay, do you have a map of the Wulonghout mountain range and a picture of the Fire Lion? Give me a copy. I will study it in the next few days. Just call me when it's time to leave. This is no problem. I will have someone send it to you in a while, Mr. Zhang, La Zi said. After La Zi left, Lin Yi carefully checked the room. After confirming that there were no monitoring devices, he released Skybolt Pig from the bag. Lin Yi, I feel that there is something wrong with this mission. Sun Jingyi pondered for a moment and said, But I can't tell what the problem is at the moment. I thought of it too, Lin Yi said. Since the Tagan family is very powerful, and there are many cultivators attached to them, it's impossible that they can't even bring out 4 masters above the golden rank, right? They can completely capture the Fire Lion with their own family members. They don't need to ask other cultivators to help. That's right, that's the problem. Sun Jingyi nodded. I feel that this mission shouldn't be so smooth. It's not as simple as La Zi said. Actually, the mission has nothing to do with us. We are going to the Wulonghout mountain range just to have them lead the way. After going up the mountain, we will find a chance to act alone. Lin Yi didn't care. If there was a problem, then there was a problem. But Lin Yi also suppressed his strength, so he wasn't afraid of anything. That's true. I was thinking too much. After Sun Jingyi finished speaking, she looked at the big bed in the room. Her face turned red. There is only one big bed here. How are we going to sleep at night? At night? Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi and knew that she had misunderstood, but he still said, Of course, we will sleep together. Ah? Sun Jingyi didn't expect Lin Yi to make such a request at this time. Her heart was a little tangled. It wasn't that she didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi, but their current relationship could only be regarded as a joking lover relationship. They really didn't have any other relationship. They hadn't even started dating, but they had already gone to bed. Sun Jingyi couldn't accept it no matter what. Moreover, for a woman who had cultivated in Sun Jingyi's unique mental cultivation method, once she lost her virginity, her cultivation speed would be greatly reduced. What's wrong? You don't want to fulfill your duty as a lover? I came all the way here to help you find clues about your parents, Lin Yi said. But Sun Jingyi no longer had the appearance of a strong woman. She was not much older than Lin Yi, and her mental age was younger than Lin Yi. I'm not ready yet. Do we need to prepare to sleep together? Lin Yi asked. Sleep together? Sure. Can we not do that first? Sun Jingyi had no choice but to bite the bullet and ask. Which one? Lin Yi asked, pretending to be puzzled. You clearly know. Sun Jingyi bit her lip. Her face was so red that blood was about to drip out. What are your concerns? Asked Lin Yi. One is that I'm not ready yet, and the other is because my mental cultivation method, if I lose my virginity, my cultivation speed will be greatly reduced. Sun Jingyi had no choice but to explain with a red face. So I must cultivate to the first level. Hee. I said sleep together, just like in the car. You sleep, and I cultivate next to you. Lin Yi smiled and said, It's just to protect your safety. Although there is no danger for the time being, you still can't take it lightly. Are you deliberately playing with me? Jingyi was infuriated by Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's words were so flirtatious, but in the end, it was all a lie. She'd even misunderstood him and explained so much. That's not true. You keep saying that you are my lover, and I also took you on an adventure. I have to know your intention, right? Lin Yi smiled and said, I'm afraid that you are playing with me. Sun Jingyi was speechless for Lin Yi's explanation, but she couldn't refute it. She could only lie on the bed depressed and said, Then I will sleep. Anyway, I have already told you. You can do whatever you want. Lin Yi knew that Sun Jingyi was angry, so he didn't bother with her. He smiled slightly and closed his eyes to cultivate. 3 days passed in a flash. During this period, Lazi sent someone to send a map of the Wulonghao mountain range and a copy of the information of the Fire Lion. However, the map of the Wulonghao mountain range only had a map of the lower range. There was only a small part of the middle range, and the upper range was blank. Come to think of it, even those who had been there would not record the terrain and draw a map when it was dangerous. On the morning of the 3rd day, after breakfast, Lazi personally came to the door. Mr. Zhang, the team members for this adventure mission are ready. Please go downstairs. We are going to set off, Lazi said to Lin Yi. It's in front of the Adventure Guild. Okay, I will go over after I pack up, Lin Yi said. I will continue to inform others. Lazi nodded and left, while Lin Yi and Jingyi packed up a bit. Sorry for troubling you should go into Jingyi's bag, Lin Yi said to Skybolt Pig. Sorry for troubling you should go into Jingyi's bag. GG. Skybolt Pig was very smart. It naturally understood what Lin Yi meant. It shouldn't be exposed in front of others. It was a mystic class spirit beast. Even if it wasn't an attack-type spirit beast, if it was seen by the Tagan family, it would not be a good thing. Lin Yi was going to wait until they reached the Wulonghao mountain range. He would then release Skybolt Pig when he was alone. This was because Skybolt Pig was very sensitive to the route on the map. Bringing it along could save a lot of trouble. There were already 2 practitioners standing in front of the Adventurer Guild. Lin Yi looked over and knew their strength. One was at the early phase of the golden class, and the other was at the peak of the early phase. These 2 obviously knew each other. They were standing there chatting about something. When Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi walked over, the 2 stopped talking. They looked at Lin Yi with vigilance, but they didn't say anything. And Lin Yi was too lazy to take the initiative to talk to them. After standing there for a while and not seeing the 4th person come, the 2 golden class masters from before became a bit impatient. The peak of the early phase of the golden class frowned and turned to look at Lin Yi with dissatisfaction. Hey, where is the other person? You are waiting for him. Don't you have any sense of time? Lin Yi looked at the man indifferently and didn't respond. Chapter 2208. As far as he was concerned, he was with the green-clothed early phase golden class, and the 2 of them together were enough to take down Lin Yi. That was why he was being cocky. Lin Yi didn't even look at him this time, basically ignoring him. What the hell, do you think you're so great now? You're late and you're still acting all high and mighty. I think you're asking for a beating. The green-clothed early phase golden class was getting a little pissed as well. He had the same thought as the black-clothed man, that if the 2 of them worked together, even a golden class mid-phase would be able to go up against them. Slap! A slap went over, but it wasn't Lin Yi who did it. It was a 30-something-year-old white-clothed bulky man, and behind him was Lazi, who had a bitter smile on his face. Lazi went to find them according to the order of their ranks. The stronger ones were naturally the last to visit, and Lazi could come with him. He didn't expect to hear someone complaining as soon as he arrived, and it was even heard by the strongest golden class mid-phase peak. How could he let it go so easily? A mere golden class early phase, and you don't know how high the sky is. The white-clothed man looked coldly at the green-clothed man, revealing his golden class mid-phase peak strength from head to toe. The green-clothed man was actually a bully and feared the strong. Seeing that the white-clothed man was a master at the peak of the middle phase of the golden class, he knew that even if he and the black-clothed man teamed up, they wouldn't be a match for him. Naturally, he didn't dare to act rashly again. Covering his swollen face, he didn't dare say anything. I hit you, do you submit? The white-clothed brawny man didn't seem to want to let the green-clothed expert go so easily. He also intended to use this opportunity to establish his prestige and establish his transcendental position in this adventurer team. He was worried about not having a chance before, but the green-clothed expert came knocking on his door. "I submit," the green-clothed man said. The white-clothed man nodded in satisfaction and turned to the black-clothed man. "What about you?" "I submit as well." The black-clothed man calculated for a moment. Even if he and the green-clothed man attacked together, the difference in strength between them and the white-clothed man was too big. They weren't his match at all, so he had to submit. This was the world of cultivators. Strength was the absolute truth. If you were strong, then even if others were unconvinced and unwilling, there was nothing they could do. "What about you two?" The white-clothed man didn't seem satisfied. Although he could tell that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi weren't on the same side as the black-clothed and green-clothed experts, he still turned around and asked coldly. Lin Yi glanced at him and ignored him. "Hey, I see that some people are still not convinced." In this adventurer team, there must be a spirit of cooperation, and also a spirit of obedience. These two members are not obedient. The team is not easy to lead. The strong man in white smiled coldly. "In my opinion, if we don't teach them a lesson, they will have problems sooner or later." "Well?" Lartzi smiled bitterly and looked at Lin Yi. "Mr. Zhang, this Mr. Bai is a mid-phase golden class. What do you think? I'm here for a mission, not to play along with him." Lin Yi said faintly. "Kid, I heard that you have some strength, a mid-phase golden class, but don't think that you can be so arrogant just because you're weak." The man in white didn't wait for Lartzi to speak before he laughed. "I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm a mid-phase golden class, and I'm close to the late phase. If you're not convinced then." But before he could finish, a slap landed on his face, and he spun a few times on the ground like a spinning top. The owner of the slap was, of course, Lin Yi. "Lartzi, I'm here for a mission, not to listen to this idiot. If he's still like this, then don't blame me for being rude." Lin Yi's tone was still calm, as if that slap wasn't from him. Lin Yi couldn't be too low profile in the team, but he couldn't be too high profile either. He had to find the right balance, and that was the only way he could have a say in the team. It would be beneficial for him to continue his exploration after the mission was over. Mid-phase golden class, it was indeed mid-phase golden class. Everyone at the scene was shocked. Lin Yi was only at the middle phase of the golden class, yet he was able to beat the white-clothed man who was at the peak of the middle phase of the golden class into a spinning top. This level of strength was enough to shock everyone. As for the black-clothed and green-clothed masters, they felt lucky that they didn't ridicule Lin Yi too much. They didn't think that this guy was even fiercer than the white-clothed man. Of course, the two of them were still very happy that Lin Yi and the white-clothed man were fighting. They were ignored by Lin Yi before, and insulted by the white-clothed man. In short, it would be best if both of them were injured. The white-clothed man spun a few times on the ground before he finally stopped. His face was red, and his eyes were filled with disbelief and unwillingness. From his point of view, Lin Yi was a mid-phase golden class master, one level lower than him, and yet he was able to beat him like this. It must have been a sneak attack. "Kid, you're asking for it." The man in white was much more alert after coming back to his senses. He clenched his fist and threw a punch at Lin Yi's face. He didn't hold back at all. He was pissed off. Bang! A loud sound. Just when everyone thought that Lin Yi would be heavily injured by the white-clothed man, something strange happened again. The white-clothed man was sent flying, and there was a large footprint on his white robe. He was kicked out by Lin Yi. The first time was because he was unprepared and lucky, but the second time, was it still the same? The second time was the embodiment of strength. Other than Sun Jingyi, everyone else was shocked to understand one thing, and that was that Lin Yi could fight above his level. It wasn't common for practitioners to fight above their level, but it definitely existed, and Lin Yi should be this type of person. Pfft! After the white-clothed man landed on the ground, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was a little pale, and he sat on the ground, adjusting his breath for a while before his face returned to normal. These 2 moves didn't use chi. If you do it twice, it won't be a 3rd time. There's still a 3rd time, and you can go die. Linny looked at the white-clothed man, and his voice was still as calm as ever. Chapter 2209. This was already him being merciful. If he had used his true chi, it wouldn't have been as simple as spitting out a mouthful of blood. I was reckless before. I apologize for offending you. The man in white was no fool. Although Lin Yi was weaker than him, Lin Yi's combat ability was obviously stronger. Under such circumstances, he had no choice but to lower his head. When do we leave? Lin Yi didn't answer the man in white, but turned to La Zi and asked. Young Master Tang Anlong will be here soon. We will leave together then. La Zi's attitude towards Lin Yi was obviously much more respectful than before. Lin Yi nodded, but didn't say anything else. Since Lin Yi didn't say anything, the others naturally didn't dare to say anything else. After about 10 minutes, a Hummer drove over and stopped in front of the Adventurers Guild. After the car stopped, a somewhat cold and wretched-looking young man got out. Behind him were 2 middle-aged men who looked to be in their 40s or 50s. Lin Yi glanced at the young man who got out of the car first. He actually had the strength of an early-stage Earth class at such a young age, which was rather rare. However, thinking that the Tagan family had a second-grade alchemist, he should be able to refine elixirs like the small chi-gathering pill. So, it wasn't surprising that this person had the strength of an early-stage Earth class. Having an alchemist was an advantage, and this guy was obviously just an empty shell. Although he had the strength of an early-stage Earth class, his combat ability was very weak, and he looked like he had too much wine and women. However, the 2 middle-aged men behind him weren't ordinary. One was an expert with the strength of a mid-stage Earth class, the same level as Lin Yi, while the other had reached the peak of the late-stage Earth class, which surprised Lin Yi. La Zi greets young Master Taganlong, 5th and 8th protectors. La Zi saw the 3 people get out of the car and quickly walked over to greet them. And are you ready? Taganlong nodded arrogantly, his eyes sweeping across the 5 people behind La Zi, including Lin Yi. In the end, his gaze stopped on Sun Jingyi. His eyes instantly lit up and shot out a lascivious light. His greedy expression was completely exposed. Sun Jingyi frowned in her heart, but for the sake of the grand plan, she couldn't get angry, so she could only endure it. Naturally, Lin Yi was the same. However, this debt was already on Tagan Dragon's head. Originally, Lin Yi despised this kind of behavior of forcefully subduing a fire lion cub as a slave and contractual spiritual beast. However, Lin Yi wasn't a benevolent person and wouldn't sympathize with a spirit beast for no rhyme or reason. If the Tagan clan could smoothly lead them up the mountain, Lin Yi wouldn't mind helping them out. However, young Master Taganlong had been staring at Sun Jingyi the moment he got out of the car, which made Lin Yi very unhappy. He couldn't be bothered to help. Lin Yi might even cause him more trouble than he should be able to. Tagan Dragon didn't think that he would be so miserable. Because of his lust, he had offended Lin Yi to death. It was a perfectly good contracted spirit beast, but because of Lin Yi's lack of effort and intentions, it was impossible to tame it. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's help, it would be very easy for him to force a contract with a fire lion cub. Ready! La Zi also saw Tagan Dragon's expression and quickly said, These 4 are at the early phase of the golden class, the peak of the early phase, the middle phase, and the peak of the middle phase. Of course, in terms of combat power, Mr. Zhang is the strongest. Even Mr. Bai, who is at the peak of the middle phase, is no match for him. And this is his girlfriend, they're training together. La Zi knew that young Master Tagan Dragon was a lecher. Looking at his eyes, he knew that he had his eyes on Sun Jingyi. However, Sun Jingyi was the girlfriend of Lin Yi, the strongest among the adventurers. Therefore, La Zi was afraid that young Master Tagan Dragon would do something inappropriate and affect the plan to capture the fire lion. Therefore, he vaguely mentioned Lin Yi's strength and his relationship with Sun Jingyi. Although Tagan Dragon was a little reluctant, he heard that Lin Yi was the strongest among the adventurers and knew what was important, so he reluctantly retracted his gaze. He nodded and said, "Okay, then let's set off now to avoid any accidents. Everyone get in the car. I'll arrange the division of labor and plan in the car." Lao Zi pointed at the Hummer and said. The Hummer that Tag and Dragon drove was a 5-seater Hummer pickup truck. Lin Yi and the other adventurers went directly to the back of the pickup truck. Tag and Dragon still drove the Hummer himself, while the 5th and 8th Guardians sat in the back of the car. After Lao Zi got in the car, the Hummer started slowly and headed in the direction of the Wulonghout Mountains. "In a while, our division of labor will be like this. The 8th Guardian will be responsible for finding the Fire Lion. After finding it, he will use a special method to drive the Fire Lion into the encirclement of the 4 of you. The 4 of you will each occupy a corner and seal off the 4 blind spots. This way, no matter which direction the Fire Lion escapes in, you will quickly block it and drive it back to the center of the encirclement," Lao Zi said. "This way, we can continuously consume the Fire Lion's stamina and combat power. When its stamina and combat power are exhausted, the 5th Guardian will be responsible for assisting young Master Tag and Dragon to control the Fire Lion and force it to consume a contract pill with its owner's blood to complete the establishment of the contract." After listening to Lao Zi's words, everyone nodded to express their understanding. Lin Yi also nodded. Seeing that everyone nodded, Lao Zi continued, "Mr. Zhang and Mr. Bai are the strongest, so Mr. Zhang and Mr. Bai will guard the middle ridge, while the other 2 will guard the lower ridge. This way, we can also prevent the Fire Lion from escaping to the middle ridge. However, it's fine if it runs to the lower ridge. I'll be at the lower ridge, and the rest of you will be responsible for intercepting it at any time." These people did not have any objections to Lao Zi's suggestion. After all, this interception method and position arrangement were the most reasonable. Of course, remember one thing. That is, you must constantly spare no effort to fight with the Fire Lion cub and exhaust its physical strength. Otherwise, if it has the physical strength to resist and spit out the contract pill, then it will not be able to complete the contract," Lao Zi said. "All right, this is our plan. Does anyone have any questions?" "No," the black-clothed expert and the green-clothed expert said. Chapter 22:10. "All right. Then it's settled." Razy nodded and didn't say anything else. The car quickly arrived at the foot of the Wulonghout Mountains. At the foot of the mountains, there were a few big families and 2 big gangs stationed. They didn't allow solo adventurers to enter the Wulonghout Mountains, and they also prevented ordinary people from entering by accident. Of course, they actually treated the Wulonghout Mountains as their private land. Other small forces and gangs had to pay a hefty commission if they wanted to enter the Wulonghout Mountains for training and adventure. But for the Tagan family, there were no obstacles. Especially when they saw that the driver was young Master Taganlong, they naturally let them pass. At the foot of the mountains, a group of people had changed into specialized hiking clothes. The 8th Protector led the way, while Razy, Lin Yi, and the other adventurers walked in the middle. The 5th Protector, who was at the peak of the late phase of Earth class, walked at the back with young Master Taganlong. The entire Wulonghout Mountains, there was only one way to go up and down the mountains. The other places were all dense jungles. It was full of danger. If one wasn't a professional alchemist or apothecary, they wouldn't dare to enter at all. Even if it was a cultivator, a bite from a poisonous snake or insect could be fatal. Even if it was a poisonous weed, it could still be dangerous. Everyone, follow closely and be alert. Don't wander around randomly. If you go astray and get hurt by poisonous bugs and weeds, you'll have to bear the consequences. The 8th Protector shouted at the front. After everyone heard this, they couldn't help but raise their vigilance. On the other hand, Lin Yi didn't think much of it. Firstly, Lin Yi used to deal with poisonous bugs and weeds all year round. Old Lin not only planted a bunch of medicinal herbs, but also a bunch of poisonous bugs and weeds to research things like poisonous insects. Therefore, ordinary poisonous bugs and weeds were really not a problem for Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi was a little afraid. She subconsciously moved closer to Lin Yi's side. Not far behind them, young Master Taganlong's eyes shot out a look of envy and jealousy. Such a good woman, she should be mine! Taganlong muttered to himself with a lustful look in his eyes. Young Master Taganlong, prioritize the big picture, the fifth protector reminded him softly. Once the mission is over, there will be plenty of opportunities. All right. Taganlong nodded and stopped thinking about other things for the time being. Normally, when Linny wasn't paying attention, Linny wouldn't take the initiative to eavesdrop on their conversation. But now, Linny had already suspected that the purpose of this operation was not as simple as Shiraz said. Moreover, young Master Taganlong obviously harbored ill intentions towards Sun Jingyi. Hence, on the way up the mountain, Linny had been paying attention to Taganlong and the five guardians. Naturally, their conversation reached Lin Yi's ears. I'll have a chance if I end the mission? A cold smile appeared on Lin Yi's lips. Although he had to admit that Taganlong's team was very strong, Lin Yi wasn't here for the mission at all. By the time the mission was over, Lin Yi would have gone to the middle and upper ridges. Even if Taganlong wanted to find them, he wouldn't be able to. And Taganlong's previous conversation made him even more determined. When dealing with the fire lion later, he would create some trouble for him. The group walked about 500 to 600 meters up the mountain. Suddenly, a giant python appeared on the mountain path. Although this python hadn't reached the level of a spirit beast, it was still a mutated creature. It was much stronger than ordinary pythons. The qi in the Wulonghout Mountains was thicker than other places. Hence, there were many spirit beasts and mutated beasts here. From Lin Yi's point of view, this giant python was similar to the white python Yang Qiqi encountered in the Ice Palace trial. To the current Lin Yi, it was no threat at all. Naturally, it was no threat to the 8 protectors. Sure enough, the 8 protectors raised their hands and slashed at the top of the python's head. The python didn't even struggle before it was slammed to the ground. It was motionless, obviously dead. The black and green masters, and even the white-clothed man, all had a change in expression. It seemed that this 8th protector was also a master. They didn't have Lin Yi's eyesight, so they didn't know the true strength of the 8 protectors. However, it wouldn't be easy for them to deal with this python. Although they would be able to kill it in the end, they wouldn't be able to do it so easily. For golden-class masters like them, their attack power was actually about the same as Yang Qiqi's. When Yang Qiqi faced the white python, it was quite difficult, so it wouldn't be easy for them. On the other hand, Lin Yi didn't think much of it. This python was powerful, but Lin Yi would be able to deal with it. The appearance of the python was obviously an accident. Theoretically speaking, there shouldn't be any spirit beasts on the mountain path. It seemed that this python was hungry, but it chose the wrong food. This time, there were no other dangers along the way. After walking for about a kilometer, they came to a relatively empty place. The 8 protectors stopped. Everyone, this is our destination. We will also encircle and capture the fire lion here, the 8 protectors said. La Zi, arrange the advantageous terrain that everyone is occupying. I will use a special method to attract the fire lion cubs. Yes, 8 protectors. La Zi nodded and took out the map. According to the battle strategy marked on the map, he had Lin Yi and the others stand at 4 corners. This was a small formation. As long as they guarded these 4 corners, it wouldn't be a problem. Jingyi, on the other hand, was standing not too far behind him. She was here to train, and naturally wouldn't participate in the hunt for the cubs. However, at this time, young Master Taganlong walked over and looked at Sun Jingyi politely. Hello, beautiful lady. Let me introduce myself. I'm Taganlong, the young master of the Taganlong family in Rilida. I'm a golden class mid-phase master. It's nice to meet you. My apologies, we need to capture the spirit beast now. Please don't get distracted, young Master Taganlong. Otherwise it wouldn't be good. Sun Jingyi said faintly, as if she was 1,000 miles away. You're only a golden class mid-phase master. I heard that the fire lion can fight a golden class master. Young Master Taganlong, please be careful. Chapter 22:11 This Sun Jingyi really didn't know what was good for her. From her words, it was obvious that she was looking down on him for being only a golden class mid-phase. Tagamong wanted to say that he wasn't a golden class mid-phase, but an earth class, but he remembered his father's instruction to hide his strength and not expose it, to act like a spoiled brat to confuse others. Tagamong could only continue to endure it. He shook his head. After acting like a spoiled brat for so long, Tagamong was a little too immersed in it, but he could control his emotions very well. In fact, he was a very smart person, but this was something that even the 5th and 8th guardians didn't know about. They only knew that Tagamong was purposely suppressing his strength because he was afraid of the other family's jealousy, but they didn't know the core secrets of the Tagan family and their plans all these years. You're right, the fire lion is still more important. Tagamong seemed to have heard Sun Jingyi's words and thought of the importance of the fire lion, so he walked away with a gloomy face. However, he had already made up his mind that after this mission was over, he would capture Sun Jingyi no matter what. It was true that he was lecherous, and Tagamong pretended to be a spoiled brat, but it was also true that he was lecherous. But this time, he wanted to capture Sun Jingyi, not because he was lecherous, but because there was a very important reason. Lin Yi was a little speechless at this Tagamong. Was this guy that stupid? Seeing that Lin Yi was right beside him, he dared to say these things to Sun Jingyi? Didn't he know that in the world of practitioners, there were many people who would kill because of a sentence? But Lin Yi didn't want to make an open enemy of the Tagan family. Lin Yi still had to go to Oolonghao to look for clues about Sun Jingyi's parents. If this was over, Lin Yi would have slapped this Tagamong to death and run away with Sun Jingyi. Humph! Returning to the 5th guardian, Tagamong snorted coldly, expressing his dissatisfaction on his face. Master Tagamong, that Zhang Naipao will be the main force later. Don't mess with him now, or he won't be able to help. The 5th protector whispered to young Master Tagamong. It's just a daughter. Just give him some pills and see if he doesn't obediently give her to you to play with. In the cultivation world, there are many cases of people betraying their friends for a pill. That's true. After listening to the 5th guardian's words, Tagamong nodded and no longer spoke to Sun Jingyi impatiently. As far as he was concerned, Sun Jingyi was already in his bag. If Lin Yi was willing to risk his life for a soul-condensing pill, then he'd just have to give him a foundation pill, or a meridian-opening pill, or some other common pill like that, and Lin Yi wouldn't hesitate to send Sun Jingyi to him. Woohoo! The 8 protectors suddenly let out a long howl. This was the signal that they had agreed upon beforehand. Now that it was sent out, it was likely that he had succeeded. Everyone on alert, get into position and get ready to capture the fire lion! La Zi yelled. Other than Lin Yi, the other adventurers were all on high alert, ready to make a move at any moment. As expected, there was a commotion, and a fiery red little lion was running towards them, driven by the 8 protectors. He didn't know what special technique the 8 protectors used to force the little lion to run towards them, but this surprised Lin Yi. Logically speaking, a spirit beast without a contract couldn't be easily controlled by a human unless he had some special technique. Roar! The little lion roared and had already entered the ambush of Lin Yi and the others. However, the little lion didn't stop. It wanted to pass through the encirclement of Lin Yi and the others and continue to escape through the gaps. But at this moment, the green-clothed master closest to the little lion made his move. Bang! The green-clothed expert's palm struck the small fire lion's body. The small fire lion staggered backward. Although it wasn't seriously injured, it was clear that the green-clothed expert's all-out palm had caused it to suffer greatly. Roar! The little lion let out an angry roar and rushed towards the green-clothed master, wanting to take revenge for that slap. The green-clothed master had already tested the bottom line of the little lion's strength. Although he couldn't kill the little lion, it was absolutely impossible for the little lion to do anything to him. Even if the little lion went berserk, he would only suffer a minor injury at most. It was impossible for the little lion to cause trouble for him. Little thing, you don't know life from death. Grandpa will give you another slap. The green-clothed master vented all his anger towards the white-clothed brawny man on the little lion and slapped it again. However, this time, the little lion was obviously prepared. It knew that this green-clothed master wasn't easy to provoke. When it rushed over, it nimbly avoided the slap of the green-clothed master, and its 4 legs directly stepped on the chest of the green-clothed master. Bang! The green-clothed master was unprepared and was trampled by the little lion. Suddenly, the blood in his chest surged. Although it wasn't enough to injure him, it was quite uncomfortable. Bastard! Little bastard, you're courting death! The green-clothed master didn't wait for the little lion to leave. He gathered strength on his arms and punched at the same time. Boom! Boom! The little lion was directly sent flying by the green-clothed master, who was furious. It suddenly flew into the middle of the encirclement of Lin Yi and the others. It struggled on the ground for a while before climbing up. Obviously, it had suffered some injuries. The green-clothed master's angry fists weren't so easy to bear. The little lion seemed to know that it wasn't the opponent of the green-clothed master. It immediately turned around and ran in the direction of the mountain range. However, it was wrong. In front of it, there was an even more powerful white-clothed brawny man waiting for it. Just as the little lion was about to break through the encirclement, the white-clothed brawny man directly blocked in front of the little lion. He was the master with the highest rank here. Naturally, he couldn't lose face like the green-clothed master. He couldn't afford to lose face, so before the little lion rushed over, he made a move first. Little thing, Grandpa will play with you! As the white-clothed brawny man spoke, he kicked the little lion. He regarded the little lion as Lin Yi. He knew that he couldn't take revenge for Lin Yi's slap and kick just now, so he vented his resentment on the little lion. Bang! There was a loud noise. The little lion was directly kicked into the air by the white-clothed brawny man. It flew up and coincidentally landed heavily at the feet of the black-clothed master. This time, the little lion's injury seemed to be more serious than before. The little lion was struggling on the ground. Before it could get up, it was kicked by the black-clothed master again. Chapter 22:12. Of course, the black-clothed expert's leg strength was much weaker than the white-clothed man's. The little fire lion wasn't kicked back this time, but fell in the middle of the encirclement. The little fire lion struggled a few times and jumped up again. This time, it ran towards Lin Yi's side. Those 3 people weren't easy to provoke. The little fire lion had a very high spiritual intelligence. It naturally knew that escaping in their direction was asking for trouble. The only one that could give it a try was Lin Yi's side. However, it was impossible for Lin Yi to blatantly throw the game. He had to pretend. This wasn't the time to fall out with the Tagan family. Lin Yi was prepared to wait for this mission to fail. Then, he would pretend to stay on the mountain and help the Tagan family search for traces of the fire lion. At that time, the Tagan family would definitely agree to such a free labor to stand guard on the mountain. They would definitely think that Lin Yi was greedy for the small chi-gathering pill and wasn't willing to give it up. This wouldn't arouse too much suspicion. Lin Yi's figure was very fast. In an instant, he blocked in front of the little fire lion and slapped it with his palm. The little fire lion's eyes flashed with horror. It didn't expect that Lin Yi's figure and speed were the most powerful among the 4 people. Moreover, looking at Lin Yi's swift and fierce palm, it definitely wouldn't be good if it slapped down. The little fire lion subconsciously wailed. Lin Yi's palm slapped on the little fire lion's body. However, the little fire lion was surprised to find that it didn't feel any pain. Instead, a pure chi entered its body and quickly healed the injuries it had suffered before. The little fire lion's injuries weren't particularly serious. Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery for the second time. The healing speed was also very fast. Therefore, the process was completed in an instant. After Lin Yi healed the little fire lion, he suddenly exerted force in his hand and sent the little fire lion flying. It seemed as if it had been sent flying, but Lin Yi used a clever method. The little fire lion did not suffer any harm at all. Moreover, when Lin Yi sent it out, he said to it via true chi. I can't let you go from my side. You still have to find a breakthrough on your own. However, if you are injured, you can come back and I will help you heal." A trace of horror flashed in the eyes of the little fire lion. Although its strength was not good, its spiritual intelligence was very high. This was the advantage of having a spiritual beast bloodline. It could naturally understand Lin Yi's words, but it was very surprised. Why did Lin Yi let it go? Moreover, Lin Yi seems to be very powerful. He can heal me in an instant? Why were humans able to heal spirit beasts? Weren't only healing-type spirit beasts capable of healing spirit beasts? Although it was puzzled, the little fire lion also knew that this was not the time to ask. It also had to disguise itself. It couldn't let down Lin Yi's good intentions. After the little fire lion fell heavily on the ground, it pretended to be in pain and struggled for a long time. However, this time it was full of confidence, and began to take the initiative to attack the green-clothed master. From its point of view, it didn't matter if it was injured. As long as there was Lin Yi, it could be healed instantly. As long as it dragged on for a while, its father, the great fire lion, would see that it was missing and would definitely come looking for it. Among the masters present, the most powerful one was only the fifth guardian with the strength of Earth-class late-phase peak. Even the elders of the hidden House Yu, House Xiao, House Yu, and House Tang couldn't be compared to them. It was impossible for them to discover Lin Yi's small movements and true qi transmission. With Lin Yi's guarantee, the little fire lion didn't even think about escaping anymore. Under the encirclement of these people, it would be very difficult to escape. On the other hand, it couldn't choose Lin Yi's side. Lin Yi helped it, but it had to run away from Lin Yi's side. That was equivalent to harming Lin Yi. And so, the little fire lion changed from running away to provoking them. After fighting with the green-clothed master, it fought with the black-clothed master, and then the white-clothed man. This cycle repeated and tired the three out, but the little fire lion became more and more courageous as it fought. "Fifth Guardian, what's wrong with this little fire lion? It seems to be very energetic?" Taganlong asked impatiently. "I'm not sure. But according to the records, this little fire lion shouldn't be this energetic. Could it be that this is a purebred fire lion?" The fifth guardian couldn't see any clues, and could only guess that this little fire lion was naturally stronger. "That's good. The stronger this little fire lion is, the more face I'll have when it becomes my contractual spiritual beast." Taganlong nodded and said. The fifth guardian rejoiced in his heart. If he knew that this little fire lion was so energetic, it was the right decision to find adventurers to exhaust its strength. However, if they couldn't exhaust the little fire lion's strength within a certain period of time and provoke the big fire lion, then these adventurers would definitely become the victims of this operation. The fire lion was a kind of spiritual beast that clearly distinguished gratitude and grudges. It was very grateful, but also very vengeful. In a while, when the big fire lion came, these four people would all die. On the contrary, those who didn't make a move might suffer the revenge of the big fire lion, but it would definitely not kill them. It was just a warning. When the time came, as long as they protected young Master Taganlong, it wouldn't be a problem for him to suffer some minor injuries. He had a lot of healing elixirs on him, so treating minor injuries was a piece of cake. What the fifth guardian knew, the eighth guardian naturally knew as well. He was watching anxiously from the side with La Zi. He wanted to help, but he didn't dare to. First, he was afraid of the fire lion's revenge. Second, it would be useless even if he helped. With his mid-earth class strength, he could definitely seriously injure the little fire lion if he went all out. However, this wasn't the result he wanted. If he went all out, the little fire lion's meridians would definitely be broken. If the meridians were broken, then the contract pill couldn't be refined and integrated into the meridians. It was tantamount to eating it for nothing, and the effect of the contract couldn't be achieved. But if he didn't go all out, then what was the difference between him and these golden class masters exhausting the little fire lion's strength? These four people were enough. He didn't want to take the risk. If things didn't work out, the big fire lion would bear a grudge. The little fire lion's main attack targets were the green-clothed masters, the black-clothed masters, and the white-clothed strong man. Only occasionally would it attack Lin Yi. However, in the eyes of these people, there was nothing strange. The little fire lion's spiritual intelligence was very high. It certainly could see that Lin Yi was the strongest person. It would rather fight with the other three than fight with Lin Yi. Only occasionally when it was forced to fight with Lin Yi would it fight. Chapter 22:13. However, after this spiritual beast got up, it seemed to become more and more courageous. It turned the pain it suffered from Lin Yi into strength to fight against the green-clothed master, the black-clothed master, and the white-clothed brawny man. The little fire lion's physical strength didn't seem to be exhausted. On the contrary, besides Lin Yi, the foreheads of the green-clothed master, the black-clothed master, and the white-clothed brawny man were already covered with sweat. They were already panting from exhaustion, and the many attacks of the little fire lion had also caused some injuries to them. The fifth guardian looked anxious, but there was nothing he could do. This encirclement was beyond his expectations. It was completely different from what was recorded in the information. According to the records, 4 golden class masters would attack the little fire lion cub non-stop until its stamina was exhausted. This step could be completed in around 20 minutes. However, more than half an hour had passed, and not only did the little fire lion not show any signs of exhaustion, it was full of vigor. The people surrounding it, on the other hand, seemed to be starting to run out of energy. Especially the green-clothed master, who was the weakest. He was already panting heavily. His heart was filled with hatred. The little fire lion seemed to have understood that he was the weakest and had fought with him the most times. On the other hand, Lin Yi, who was the strongest, had very few chances to fight. However, he couldn't retreat. If he retreated, he would lose all the rewards. Not only would he lose the essence-gathering pill, but he would also lose the 5 essence-gathering pills. Everyone, work harder. Continue to work hard. Grit your teeth and hold on. The 8th guardian also saw that the green-clothed master was showing signs of exhaustion, so he quickly encouraged them. However, although everyone was clenching their teeth and holding on, the little fire lion didn't have the slightest sign of exhaustion. It was still constantly attacking, and attacking. The 8th guardian and the 5th guardian even wanted to slap the little fire lion until it was seriously injured. But they knew that if they did that, the whole plan would be ruined. If the little fire lion's meridians were damaged, the contract wouldn't be successful, and it would be a disaster. La Zi, the green-clothed guy might not be able to hold on anymore. When he can't hold on anymore, you go up and replace him. The 8th guardian instructed La Zi. Okay. La Zi naturally knew the pros and cons of this. If he went up and replaced the big fire lion, it would be difficult for him to escape. But he had no choice. Who asked him to be in charge of this mission? Who asked him to take the initiative to accompany young Master Taganlong up the mountain to please him? At first, how would Lartzi know that it would be so troublesome? From his point of view, 4 golden class masters were more than enough to complete this mission. In theory, the records in the ancient books should not lie, but who knew that there would be problems? Roar dash! A loud roar that could shatter mountains and shatter the earth rang out. Everyone present, including Lin Yi and the 5 protectors, staggered from the impact. The sound waves seemed to tear and distort the surrounding air, making people feel suffocated for a moment. Not good! The great flame lion is here! The 5th protector's expression suddenly changed, and he shouted, Everyone, don't fight, retreat quickly! However, his voice was too late. A fiery red figure scuttled out from the nearby forest, descended from the sky, and stood proudly in the center of Lin Yi's group. This was a huge spirit beast that was more than 2 meters tall. The spirit beast's entire body was covered in fiery red fur, shining brightly under the sunlight. If it was any other time, seeing such a beautiful spirit beast would be a delightful thing to see. However, at this time, everyone present was trembling with fear. Even the 5th and 8th protectors did not expect the great flame lion to come, and so quickly at that. According to their estimates, with the great flame lion's habits, it would take at least an hour after discovering that the fire cub was missing, but now, it only took slightly more than 40 minutes. At this time, it was impossible to escape. In front of the great flame lion, whoever tried to escape first would definitely be the first to die. Although the great flame lion's speed could not be said to be particularly fast, it was at least faster than most human cultivators, especially these golden class and earth class cultivators. Their speed was incomparable to that of a heaven class cultivator. Roar, roar, roar! When the fire cub saw the great flame lion, it immediately jumped on the spot and let out a cheerful roar. It knew that it was safe now. However, not only did it express its excitement for its safety, but it also told the great flame lion about what had happened before, including the siege of the green-clothed master, the black-clothed master, and the white-clothed strong man, as well as the help that Lin Yi had given it. The great flame lion's angry gaze swept across the people present, of course, including Lin Yi. The great flame lion's spiritual intelligence was higher than the fire cub's. Naturally, it knew that Lin Yi did not want to fall out with these people openly, and could only help them secretly. Therefore, it would not expose them and would also help Lin Yi secretly. Roar! The great flame lion roared angrily. Its body scuttled and disappeared on the spot. The next moment, it appeared in front of the green-clothed master. The green-clothed master was caught off guard, and with a slap, the green-clothed master was sent flying. He landed 10 feet away and his head fell on a rock. Immediately, his brain burst. Obviously, he would not survive. The green-robed expert's miserable appearance caused everyone present to shiver. However, in the face of this majestic great flame lion, they seemed abnormally powerless. They were not a match for the great flame lion at all. Then, while the black-clothed master was caught off guard, he was also sent flying. This time, he was directly slammed into a big tree not far away. The tree trunk directly pierced through his chest and hung him in the air. A stream of dark red blood gushed out of his body, dyeing the tree trunk and the ground below it blood red. Ah! Another scream was heard. The white-clothed strong man was also sent flying. This time, it was also coincidental that the white-clothed strong man was sent flying to the foot of a tiger that had just passed by. Just as he was at a loss of what to do after the fall, the tiger happened to come out to look for food. When it saw the great flame lion giving it food, it immediately bit off the neck of the strong man in white, and took him to the side as a delicacy. Finally, the great flame lion looked at Lin Yi. It was Lin Yi's turn. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.